That was probably the best vector promotional video ever put together. On that note, I'd like to announce that I am actually taking my talents from Gainesville back down to South Florida to co-PSM with Dave so I can hit the trip. Let's go! Let's go! Normally wouldn't do that, but I'm trying to go to Punta Cana. I'm excited. But guys, I want to go ahead and kick off today's meeting. You know, this push, it's the biggest non-summer push of the entire year. And if you're here, it's because you've been someone that's emerged as a key player through fall, or you're part of TLA. And, you know, I can't imagine someone that's serious about management that's not going to be serious about getting on this trip. You know, whatever your situation is, some of you are out of town, whatnot, I understand that. But outside of that, you know, this is probably definitely the most important non-summer push, and there's always going to be a direct correlation between how much you can sell and how much your office is going to sell. You know, the managers that sell the most tend to have higher potential as managers. You know, and your office is going to end up selling more when you know how to sell. And a lot of you think you know how to sell, but one summer selling really isn't it. Until you've kind of stopped and you're able to pick it up again and do it over a winter break. You know, it adds this whole new layer of selling knowledge and what it takes, the persistence of what it takes. It's not going to be easy. Like most of you, a lot of your recs are cold from the summer, and you know exactly what that's like. You're going to have to make a lot more phone calls than you normally do in order to get the same amount of work in. So, incredibly important push. I'm excited for Punta Cana. To show you how to get to Punta Cana, we've got Jeff Gamboa running this incredible meeting. I don't remember doing this in the past, where usually it's just prep all day and then the holiday party. So I'm really excited that this division, you know, we're going to take this push seriously, and we're going to bring it to the levels that I know North Florida was bringing it to before, where every single one of us is going to be on the trip. So on that note, I'd like to go up ahead and bring up Jeff Gamboa.
I miss having Luke in the pilot. Yeah, right. This is good to have you back.
Talent's back to South Beach.
That's right. David's going to plug this thing in, right? Okay. Hey, we're going to get at it, but I'm going to ask that you guys are 100% engaged, right? How much engaged? 100%. 100%. That means everything you give. And if you just went through multiple hours of TLA prep, and if you were here yesterday as an A squad member, I think it's really, really important that you're bringing a lot to the table here, because we all know that what talks really big in our company, number one. Yeah, CPO talks really big. So I'm going to ask that you get 100% engaged. I'm going to ask that you guys are here with me. I'm going to ask that you're taking tons of notes. So right now, make sure you have your notebooks and pens, your laptops out. What are you going to extract from the opening comments? What are you going to extract from the next message from 3 people who have hit the push trips before? What are you going to extract from Luke when he goes through the schedule? Even though you've gone through the schedule on your PC, what can you extract to make sure that you hit as a big selling point, as a big action step? What are you going to extract from the report on how to open the appointment up? But Jeff, I've already sold. But can you get better? Jeff, I've already sold. But can you refine your craft? And if you really want to, do the ego thing, you haven't sold as much as me, but we won't go there. Doesn't mean that means nothing. What means everything is that you progress and get better at these meetings. You're here on a Saturday willingly. You can choose not to come here. You can choose to fill in the blank of excuses to why mommy and daddy or this and that, and you're going to prioritize something else over your growth and ability to hit the push. And that's what we're here to talk about today. Seeking best practices. I want to thank ahead of time. I want to thank Luke for covering the schedule today. Where are my 3 previous push winners that are speaking? Galila will be speaking today. Francisco and Jackson. I want to thank Reed, who's going to be speaking about phone skills. And I want to thank Mr. Denny about on his topic of increasing recommendations today. So let's give them some snaps. Snaps. Stop. Aggressive snaps. Go. Stop. Slow motion snaps. Okay. Stop. Silent snaps.
That was good. That was good.
All right, cool. Better than I expected. And then last but not least, have personal clarity. It is really easy to push, even though it's break, even though your friends are in town, even though fill in the blank. You can have your cake and eat it too, but it's really easy to push when you know what you want. And for some of you, I'm okay if what you want is to be on the beach in Punta Cana really bad because you just have to travel. I'm okay with that being a motivating factor. For some of you, it's the territory that you put on that list and you getting one of those top 5. Really excited for today. There's nothing like the you. There's only the you, and all we know is the you, and I'm so excited to represent the you today. Our united team here in beautiful Fort Lauderdale. You have to understand, I have 2 residences, practically. I live, this time of the year, 80% of my time is in Philadelphia and Delaware, where Heidi's living, my fiance. Soon, that'll be over, so as of July, we'll actually live in the same city, which is really cool. And come down here, I'm leading 30-degree weather. So I really appreciate, when I say what I appreciate South Florida weather, and 50 degrees was cold 2 nights ago. Here, 50 degrees, people were running with t-shirts and shorts up in Philadelphia and Delaware. So, with that being said, I also want to say every meeting we have is part of this M3PG experience that we speak of often. It's the most powerful professional and personal growth experience. And I want you to write that down, because if you're a manager, I want you to be able to share that with your reps. This is the place where we provide the most powerful professional and personal growth experience. If you're brand new, like our 3 new representatives, gentlemen, welcome for your first meeting from Fort Myers, over here from Broward County office. A couple of you, I believe, are PRs from some people who work here. Can you make this the most powerful professional and personal growth experience? Can you leave here with your time with Cutco and be a 5-star college graduate? Where just like athletes, people want you at their job. Where people want you at the med school. Where people want you at the law school, at the grad school. Because of your resume experience, and you use Cutco not as a resume builder, but as a springboard for your career. I want to also tell you how proud I am of the way that we operate here in Florida United. West Coast, East Coast, all the way up to Tallahassee, Panama City, down south to Puerto Rico. You can tell you're part of a united team. But number one, the anchor, number one is represented. It's true professionalism. We say the right things. We treat people with respect. It's not just about language and looking great, although we have great language and best looking division in the company. Aside from that, it's how we operate business. Okay? And we'd rather lose, but do it the right way, than win and do it the wrong way. What's really cool is we do both. We win and we do it the right way here at the U. Number 2, explosive team building. Raise your hand if you've ever recommended someone to the team and they're here selling Cutco knives, experience with us because of you. Raise your hand. How many of you are here because of that? How many of you haven't raised your hand? How many of you have no hands? All right, cool. So it's all about PRs, and we have examples in this room of people who are going to hit the trip that much easier. Like I think of Brandon Denny, I think of Rachel Gutman, I think of Eddie de las Cuevas, who have anywhere between $3,000, $4,000, and $5,000 less to sell because they're recommending friends to the job. Plus, if you really enjoy the position, you should really be excited to share it. I know I was. High standards of sales performance. That's what the next 4 hours are about. How do you sell more, maximize? Jeff, I don't need money. Okay, well then make a lot of it and save it and invest. Jeff, I really need money. Well then make a lot of money, a lot of sales, and pay off that debt or invest the way that you wanted to. Jeff, I'm not really about the money, I'm about the experience. Well then sell a lot of Cutco, rank really high, and get the best possible territory experience for you this summer. Earn an assistant spot. I love the 3 new guys here. One more time, first name? Ryan. Austin and? Zach, welcome guys. I love these guys because you never know, 1, 2, or all 3 of them might be an assistant manager by the time we get to May. And they came to their first meeting here, December 16th, playing the crazy age game. Okay. And of course, my favorite is aggressive pursuit of growth. When you come to a Florida United meeting, when you're at the U, I don't care if you're in the West Coast, East Coast, north of Florida, or you're in the Caribbean, aggressively pursuing the best version of you. Can you be a better rep than when you walked into this office? Can you have better skills? Can you put ego to the side? My favorite are the people here who have sold more than most of you that still take the most notes and still implement. You're going to hear from all types of great leaders today, and I can't wait. Today's about light bulbs. What do you do when you hear a tip that gets you? Yeah, I want to hear and see that light bulb. It's not disrespectful. It's actively engaging in processes that get you excited, that give you the tip that you need. I can't wait to hear about recommendations from Brandon Denny. I can't wait to hear how Ree does her phone time. I can't wait to hear from Francisco Duran, who as a TLA member last year, hit every trip and every push and was always on stage winning trophies. And that's why I ran a branch in Puerto Rico this past summer. It's pretty cool. Lest we forget, there are a lot of opportunities here. Even if you're not officially part of our TLA program, we might have an opportunity for you to be an assistant manager. Some of you are down the full-time selling route. Some of you are looking to lock up your territory. I was reading, last hour I was reading through questionnaires, and everyone wants the same territories. It's pretty cool. Everyone wants, there's about half of you that all want to go up and represent the U, and they're saying, Jeff, I want to go to Georgia. I want to go to Richmond. I want that Lynchburg district market as a branch manager. Who wouldn't want that? About 6 of you said you want Lynchburg. About 6 of you said you want Richmond. About 10 of you said you want Boca. About 10 of you said you want Naples. Everyone, the mama wants a Miami office. It's really competitive. The opportunity is starting out with a push. And more importantly, what are you getting that's going to be the best opportunity for you to have the best Cutco through college experience? What are you doing now so that when you graduate in 2019, 20, 21, 22, some of you 23, 24, hopefully not, but that might happen. I've seen it. How do you get the most out of it? And we always talk about the ideal track where you sell one summer and then you get into TLA. For the 3 young gentlemen that just started, TLA might be next fall for you. 1 year from now, you guys might be here jockeying for position to run your branch office. I think that's really cool. And people like Francisco here, who ran a branch last year to build a business, and he's coming back to sell. Or someone like a JP Petrowski, who ran a branch last summer and is looking to do it again, get better and grow his resume, grow his skills, more importantly, grow his business. And then last but not least, we're opening up some opportunities. We've got several young men and women who are going to open up their own career opportunity with us and take Cutco for the midterm game. Maybe not the long run, but at least the next 3 to 5 years, where they can make great income, have great flexibility, travel, have the entrepreneurship, real full-time experience, and most importantly, impact people the way that we do with Cutco. So at the end of the day, what you want is to be a 5-star recruit. What we want for you is to be a 5-star recruit. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to 60 seconds and write down, how does Cutco get me what I want? And don't tell me knives, and don't tell me prizes, and please don't tell me Punta Cana. If it's not Punta Cana, it's somewhere else tropical. It's all the same thing. What does Cutco do for you in the long run? For some of you, it is a career. Some of you are going, Jeff, well, this is my long run. Cool, put that down. What does Cutco through college and now do for you when you want to be a surgeon? When you want to run your own, what's my favorite one this week? Teacher. One of you had a really awesome story about being a great teacher for people. Law school, med school, businesses, multiple businesses. What does Cutco do for you if you do it at the highest degree? I hope what you're writing down motivates you to push through challenge. I hope what you write down motivates you when people are giving you a hard time about selling Cutco knives instead of fill in the blank. And it motivates you to push through that adversity. I hope it motivates you to hit that next promotion. If you're at 3, get to 6, 6 to 10, 10 to 20. If you're at 50, get to 100. If you're on the cusp of making half baby 50%, get there this summer. And last but not least, definitely not least, as we go into some of the instruction today, I want to say thank you for all the speakers, but I want to thank you for just facilitating great learning environments. We're here on a Saturday, and I know there are a lot of things you could be doing right now. Trust me, my fiance's at the beach. I wouldn't mind being at the beach with her right now. But I have a lot of respect of the sacrifice you make. Even TLA members, even I've done this, Jeff, for 5, 6, 7 years. It really, really digs at me in the most positive way. It digs in my heart, and it motivates me like hell to wake up and say, wow, there are people who choose to be here in the morning. You chose to come from Tallahassee and haul your you-know-what all the way 8 hours? 7.5. I have nothing but respect for that. West coast of Florida, across Alligator Death Alley. That thing's crazy. Don't speed there, please. Don't speed. Right? Even the treacherous 95 here. Or if you're coming from Miami, we all know we love the Miami traffic. I really appreciate you being here. Some of you have been here since 8 o'clock this morning. Some of you have been here since yesterday at 12 p.m. And I'm just telling you, we are doing today and yesterday what other people won't. So this summer, you're going to have an experience that other people can't have because you put the work in now. Doesn't always feel like it, but it's always worth it. The juice is worth the squeeze here. Oh, and the juices are good here. The juices are really good. Okay. So with that being said, I want to turn things over and I want to review the agenda. We have an action-packed agenda. We're going to, first of all, here, led by and moderated by our district manager, Orlando, 3 people have hit the push. And I asked them to take 3 different stances on why it's important to win pushes and maybe a few tips. Then we're going to transition to Luke, and we'll take a break after that. Then we're going to come back, and Luke's going to talk about how do you engage in the calendar? How do you be intentional about with the different events? You know that we did go through this a little bit. This is a great reminder, but more so, how do you get really buttoned up with your plan? Some of you had that OSM, that OS moment, OSHIT moment where you went, all right, I need to get arrived 5 by 23rd. My tack list is due Wednesday. Uh-oh. And that's okay. That's what these meetings are for. Let's make sure you button up your plan. Then after that, we'll come up with some major instruction. We've got Rhiannon and Brandon teaching phone and recommendations respectively. And I'll, of course, be able to chime in and give you how to build rapport. And I might even do that at the end to make sure you don't miss that. I don't want to take too much of your time. Okay? So lightning quick. I'm not going to call on everyone by calling you. What do you appreciate? Brandon, Denny, what do you appreciate?
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you, sir. And your knowledge of ages.
Yeah.
Wow.
208.
What was your score?
44.
Wow. That's impressive. It's more impressive. It's more impressive. Allison Quinn, what do you appreciate? Circle of influence. What do you appreciate, Mr. Tristan?
Feeling proud.
Luke Mosaic, what do you appreciate?
That game was a blast.
That game is fun. Maddie Harrell in the back, what do you appreciate, young lady? That's right. Lolita Kohler, what do you appreciate? Pizza. Pizza. David Delgado in the back. What do you appreciate?
Proud of 1 year.
Proud of 1 year. Okay, outstanding. So, you guys ready for a great meeting? Yes?
Yes.
Let's be locked. Let's be loaded. Let's be engaged. If you're a branch manager aspiring, notice the abbreviated opening comments I just gave. All right, well, we'll debrief it later. It'll be worth doing that. Okay? So I want to bring up Orlando. I'll do a short introduction. Orlando, interestingly enough, I wasn't ever planning on working with Orlando. And we had an opening at Fort Myers, and Scott said, well, I have a few people, and me being how I am, you know how some people, the only kids that are good kids are my kids. You know, parents like that. That's how I am as a division manager. I fight it. I try to deny it, but I'm always judging other families. I go, well, they're not like our kids. Because our kids are just as much of a hot mess. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I had no intention of taking Orlando. He said, I want you to give Orlando a shot. You might not even know this. He said, Orlando's from North Florida. He wants to come down and work with you. I think you're really going to enjoy working with this guy. He's really engaged, and he wants to grow. I said, all right, let me give it a shot. We had lunch over in that cafe. Do you remember where we went? Sat down, and I said, wow, I really like this guy. And man, Scott proved me wrong. Did he ever? Orlando ended up being the #2 new district manager in the entire company going into the fall. And here he is opening up his finishing up his first fall campaign. And we're excited to see what Orlando's able to do in his Fort Myers organization. And he here today has people that he's putting on his branch, which is really cool. Orlando's going to moderate 3 individuals and a little bit quick introduction on what they think about the push, why the push is important, some tips on how to win the push. So big round of applause, a lot of energy from Mr. Orlando.
All right. So I love being a part of preps. I haven't got a chance to experience a Jeff Gamboa prep in a long time. I think I've only experienced one. It was like way back before I actually opened up the office. So I love getting a chance to experience these preps. But I will say that this is probably one of the most influential preps you guys will have that will impact all of 2018. Right? For me, it's always been the prep that impacted my position in the fall and summer, right? And how you view the talks that you're about to get right now. And this has kind of been a thing in North Florida. This is a prep that launches your next summer, right? And I think the talks you guys are going to get, the way you view them, the way you go into them, the notes you're going to take. And you have to realize that Luke mentioned it. I mean, selling them the winter break is a little bit different than the summer. There's a little bit of a challenge, and there's certain things that you have to have the right mindset going into it. And you can't necessarily depend on what you did in the summer for it to work exactly the way you expect it to play out. And that's just Cutco overall. So I think 3 individuals that are going to give you guys the goods are 3 individuals that I've got a chance to see flourish, not just through selling in the summer, but selling in the winter break, and then also selling consistently in the fall for some of them. And I think one is obviously Francisco. I mean, super impressive guy, right? And I want to obviously, we're going to hear from Francisco, we're going to hear from Delila, and we're going to hear from, last but not least, Jackson Montgomery, right? And Jay Money, as they call him. So either one, I think either one can go first, but I do want to, you guys.
Yeah, I was going to go first.
Yeah. So we want to bring up Jackson, right? Jackson's now been on 3 company trips, and one his first trip. It was for a winter break trip. It was his first trip, actually, right?
No, that was the second.
That was your second?
Yeah, he was first.
Yeah, I remember PD now. All right, so yeah, that was good. All right, so Jackson got goods for you, and this man loves trips, and not just for the trip though, but the experience of pushing himself to get the trip. So let's bring him up.
All right, guys, sweet. So what was awesome about it was when Jeff asked me and reached out, and he was like, I want you to give the talk on why the push matters. No hesitation. I love the push. I love pushes, and I love trips. And the trip is really my biggest driving factor because I know what the push has done for me in the past, and I know what it can do for everybody. So one thing that I really love about this job and this company is like they give us opportunities to just go all in on things, right? And what's cool is like we go into these things knowing what the rewards are. Trips to foreign countries, growth, personal growth, right? Management opportunities and career positions, right? Everyone in here is like from the age like 18 to say like 23, okay? If you're here, you're already so far ahead of anyone else your age, right? Take advantage of it, right? Put the mediocrity in the past, okay? Check this out. So here's what we're going to cover. Career sales and why that's important going into the summer, right? your startup, okay? Why it's important to have more going into the next year, and this trip, and why you need to be there, okay? So the first thing I want to start with is everyone in here is I wouldn't say everyone, but most of everybody here, we're trying to gain a spot in management, right? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly, okay? So in order to manage somebody who can sell, what do you have to know how to do? So exactly, right? Now, if you're someone that was like me, I really like the idea of managing more than selling, right? But you have to like switch your thinking when it comes to stuff like that, right? Because you're not gonna be able to manage somebody if you can't sell. Okay. Now, kind of Luke hit on this earlier, kind of stole some of my thunder. Really, like you guys, a lot of you have only been around for one campaign, and you know how to sell during the summer. Some of you have the selling game down pat, great, right? You never sold, you haven't done a push in the fall. You haven't had a push in the spring. You haven't sold in the spring yet. It really takes multiple campaigns for you to really understand how to sell, okay? And this push, right, has a direct correlation of what your summer is going to be like, I promise, right? What you sell during this push and how you perform this push is going to determine how next summer goes for you, right? The second thing I want to cover is startup, right? Territory decisions are soon, okay? Here's the deal. The more money you have in startup, the more confidence you're going to have. Cash is confidence. I'd write that down. Cash is confidence. Increasing in startup now is the easiest way to move your matrix score as well. Okay. Also think about this. The higher your startup, higher capacity you're going to have, right? Higher capacity you have, the higher quality territory you're going to be able to get, right? The third thing I want to go over, right, is this trip, okay? If you don't go on this trip, I mean, I was talking to Luke earlier. Luke kind of put it bluntly. What would you say? If you don't think that like this trip is a perfect opportunity for you to just go all in on something, you might as well just like turn your kid in now, right? Because that's really don't be a trash, right? The trip, and here's what I want you guys to write down: the words "last chance." Okay, last chance. This is really like the last chance you guys are gonna have for this year to make a statement going into the summer, right? Your last opportunity to make a statement going into the summer. Okay. And what's crazy is like a lot of the things I'm saying you've heard multiple times, right? There's a reason for that. Okay, it's important. This is your last chance to make a statement. Okay, going to this trip last year for me was really like a big game changer, right? It was Cancun, and I remember pushing. I had 2K credit, so I had to sell like 6K. I ended up selling 6K, and I literally skipped the team meeting on the Wednesday that the push ended, and I hit it like at the last second, right? And I think the leader remembers like I came into the team meeting really late. I was like, yo, I hit it. It's pretty sweet, right? And then being able to go on that and like experience how the trip was. I remember Brandon remembers the jet skis, right? So in Cancun is pretty sweet, right? Now, I can tell you the trips are lit, right? It's like something I can't really explain how they are. It's kind of like you got to be there, right? But this summer, what's cool is like this summer, it was really easy for me to connect with my representatives and really like have them bought into the idea of pushing really hard. Knowing that like I don't know if anybody's in here seen the video that I was able to make while I was in Cancun. It's pretty cool, right? Being able to share that and like show that to my team and like let them see me, like it was actually me there, like that's like I was actually there, like the results actually paid off, right? It was really easy for them to connect to that, okay? And it was really easy for me to like with confidence coach them through their push and really have them gain results, okay? Now, let's see. We're gonna just like transition?
Yep.
Let's do it. We could recap it, but
I mean, Dave, biggest takeaways from that one? Last chance.
Go all in.
Last chance.
Let me see last chance. You?
Last chance. You.
Good show. Good show. Awesome. Well, next we have Delilah. Delilah has hit how many trips?
3, I believe.
3 trips. Crushes the trips. Watch this good time on trips.
Just like 10 out of 10 on the trips. Yep. Okay. So, guys, personally, pushes are something that is very special to me. It's actually one of the things that I love most about this business. I love being part of Mike Abramowitz's Alliance. I love running Alliance. And as a branch manager, that was probably my favorite part of the summer was running Alliance for Amanda and Mark. So I think Alliance is just such a big part of the way that I have, or such a big reason for why I have succeeded the way that I have in the business. And it's because I loved Alliance so much, and I was one of Mike's top sellers every single time. I think I ran a really good Alliance as a branch, and I think that's why I ran like a decent branch. Now, I didn't have the biggest Alliance this summer. I had 2 kids on it, but one of them was Amanda Swanson. She had a 10K push, and she's about to branch this summer. And then also Mark Kowalski, he had a 15K push. So I didn't have the biggest Alliance, but I definitely could develop people, and I think it's because I was part of so many alliances and I always performed. So kind of to tie together why I'm such a strong advocate of being a good push performer in the business, I'll kind of tell you my story. So when I got into TLA my first summer, that was fall of 2015, I wasn't like so hot. I was by far not one of the top candidates in our division. I was actually at 12K in sales, and I had done that mostly in my fast start, and then I went to Bosnia for 5 weeks, came back, moved to Tallahassee, we go to Florida State. So I came.
There too,
What?
she crushes it there too.
Not that fall though. I actually had 20 no sales in a row that fall, virtually. I was really inconsistent. It was bad, but yeah. So my confidence was at an all-time low. I actually had $100 in my startup account going into this prep that year, and I actually my account was negative $1,000. So I came into this meeting at an all-time low, and my mom was actually hounding me to get an hourly part-time job, and I was considering it. So yeah, Denny and Rhiannon can probably remember. I was not one of the top people in our TLA. I was actually probably in the bottom 10%. But me being on this alliance and this push changed everything for me. Because during this push, I was able to take my account from negative $1,000 to making $2,000 in income. I went from having 20 no sales in a row to having a 6K week. And I went from my mom hounding me to go work at Sephora to her being like, screw that, you know, you just made $2,000 in a week and a half. And I hit the trip to Montego Bay, Jamaica, and that's where I was really able to kind of get to know everybody in TLA and just kind of make connections with everyone. So, you know, I really just want to drive home the point that it doesn't matter where you are at this point. You could be at the rock bottom. If you're one of those people who had to drag yourselves to this meeting, I know exactly how you feel. It doesn't matter who you are. You can come back from it. You can have a great push, and you can change the trajectory of your life with it. And it's going to sound cheesy, but this is so, so true. It's not even about the money that you make. It's not even about the trip itself. But the reason why I think that this alliance opportunity is so special is because of the change that I noticed in myself. And my confidence was so low going into the push. My limiting beliefs were so strong. I was refusing to make calls during the first phone jam. I remember Mike was forcing me to make calls, and I was crying. Like, that's how bad it was. But I just trusted him. I literally just did what he said, and I ended up, you know, I booked 20 appointments, so boom, got my phone confidence back, slowly but surely. I went out to do those 20 appointments, and I was like, oh, like, I'm not going to do well, you know? And then I had a 6K week, and I changed completely. And I learned the biggest lesson. I realized that no matter what, if you set your mind to it, you can do anything. And that's the foundation of how I live my life. That's how I do school. That's how I do any push. That's how I did branch. And yeah, I wouldn't be like that if it wasn't for this push. So by the way, this push, it gave me so much selling confidence that I was able to sell for anything. Anytime there's a push, like I win the trip. This summer, I had my branch. I wasn't going to win Germany off of branch office results, but like I was like, I want to go, so I just sold 10K and hit it off of personal sales. So it's great to be able to have that confidence of, you know, you can just sell, and it doesn't even matter if this is your first time at this meeting. It doesn't matter if this is your first year in TLA, and it doesn't matter if you've branched 3 times. It's so important that you're confident in selling, and no matter where you are, even if you're not, you can still use this push to get yourself there. Yeah, to move on from that, you know, just kind of that story, I would say another big part of this push for me is I I love using it to kind of reset my psychology for the next year. It's the perfect timing because it's right between the fall semester and the spring semester. So it's in that perfect little buffer, and then also New Year's is right there. So I kind of just use it to start the year on fire, you know, start the year with a 6K a week and just recalibrate myself for the spring semester. And I think about circumstantial versus intentional growth. Some people are unfortunate enough to where they have to go through circumstantial growth, like, you know, a loved one dies or they suffer an accident, something horrible happens, and they have to grow through that pain. But then I also think about putting yourself through intentional growth and intentionally putting yourself through something that is very difficult in order to come out stronger on the other side. So that's what the push is about for me as well. Raise your hand if you were on SC2 Alliance this summer in your office. All right, keep your hand raised if you kind of, you know, even on your worst days, you could still feel that growth. Even when you had like 5 no sales, you could still feel just kind of the way you were changing throughout the push. You know, that's what it's about. It's about that growth. And it's really incredible that we have the opportunity to do that at our job. Like, it's just crazy to me. You can't do that at McDonald's, you know? Like, we literally get to make money and grow ourselves and do all this stuff. It's just awesome. Also, I think about just the Alliance every morning. It's your chance to really start your day right, get into good habits. I'm actually personally going to be working out at like 5 a.m. every morning before Alliance just to push myself even further on this period. And, you know, you can do that too. You know, just use this period to get what you want out of it. And you go into January, like I said, selling a lot. It's cool to start off the week with, or the year with a 6K week. It's like, wow, 2018 is going to be great. I can do anything, you know? And the last thing that I really want to talk about, honestly, the income opportunity is insane. I mean, like, make this winter bank, not winter broke. And I talk about it all the time, but a lot of your friends are just going to be going out and just spending money and not really doing much. And they're going to come back to school in the spring and be like, oh my God, I'm so broke, you know? But you're going to come back with a few extra G's in your bank account. Like, why not do that? I'm going to make more money in these next 2 weeks than my friends make all year, basically. So, you know, they're all like, oh yeah, like, come on the boat, come do this, come do that. I'm like, I can't. And it's cool to be able to say I can't. And they're like, why not? And I'm like, I'm going to make $10,000 over winter break. You know, so they like hang with their mouths open. They can't comprehend that. So really just use this push, milk it, and just get what you want out of it. Create your destiny.
Before we close, you want to do the biggest takeaways from that one? Because she crushed that. I saw your eyes light up for some parts. Tell me about it, Austin.
Intentionally putting yourself in tough situations to grow.
Yeah, it's one of the big growth opportunities here for sure. A couple things I really love that she said was being part of the bottom 10% of TLA and then looking at where she is now is I saw a lot of your eyes light up because, you know, about 10% of you in here are in the bottom 10% of TLA. So there are some of you here that this is an opportunity, it's a platform for you to be able to make a statement, propel yourself to where you want to be, to where you can use this as a springboard to make this the greatest opportunity for you. You know, I think we're at a point in our organization now where not many people are going to, like, we don't have many management spots for people that aren't at 20, 30K in sales at least, you know, and if you're not at that level, this is your opportunity. This is like a second summer opportunity to get to that level, you know? What else? That was a good one.
Winter bank, not winter broke.
That one too.
Starting the year off with a bang.
Starting the year off with a bang.
I like that
Great
she
way to
was
start
so
off.
terrible.
Yeah.
At this point, I didn't know you were that bad.
I love my favorite part because you guys, you don't know it yet, but you're gonna see it. Was that she was crying when she had to make phone calls when it pick up. That's how it's gonna feel. You're like making phone calls that first phone jam. If you don't have a good momentum week and you don't get some phone calls in, it's gonna be one of the hardest things you've done in your life. Like actually, just actually getting through it. It's weird because it's just dialing a phone, but it's like pulling a Band-Aid. You know, it's like get rid of those limiting beliefs and get onto it as fast as possible. So next person coming up is Francisco Duran. Francisco ran a branch last year, and I remember in Puerto Rico where he was, there was talk of everyone like, dude, we shouldn't even put branches in Puerto Rico. Like, we just have like a couple districts. It's not big enough. I remember Francisco came out of the gates strong and proved everyone wrong really quick. And first couple weeks of the year, he was beating Andrew Evans, which we're all sitting here like, what is going on? And Francisco's just crushing it. And then also there's people that are, oh, you need to AM before you branch, otherwise you're going to run a terrible branch. Francisco he started the year before, right? He was first year branch, and I believe he was like top 5 in the nation for the first few weeks. They just came out of the gates way stronger than anyone else, and it really shows, you know, what he's able to put into it, the preparation he's able to put into it, and he's someone that's going the CSP route. He's going to be, I believe, in the pilot here this summer, he's going to be someone that's able to help facilitate with team meetings and teach us some more advanced stuff, and it's kind of like getting another little resident CSP. So I'm incredibly excited to get closer to Francisco and be able to leverage him for that. And so yeah, Francisco, come on up.
Thank you. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me like quite well, like Luke said, I'm Francisco Duran from the San Juan office, and I'm just transitioning to. I just moved to Miami because of the hurricane. I know you probably all know. So I'm just like getting the hang of being here. So I appreciate all of you like listening to me because it's kind of like my first talk here in the pilot. So thank you for that. So basically, pushes are like my favorite part of the job. Like pushing is I get to really experience work, because sometimes here we feel like we work hard, but we make much more money than people that work like 40, 50 hours a week. So this is really a time that we get to prove ourselves that we really work hard and we really like get our money's worth. So it's basically what I love is that I can see people like work hard, and I can see like how they end up after the push. So it's really exciting to see how people push themselves, and it really motivates me, because I remember my first SC2. Who here like this year was your first SC2? Raise your hand. How impressed were you when you saw those 10K pushers, 20K pushers, 30K pushers? It really like gets me. Like I saw all those people on stage, and I was like, okay, it's time to step it up and like bring it harder next time. So it really like motivates me to see how people grow and impacts their business. If you last year, like Luke was telling you, in Puerto Rico they didn't want to open a branch last year because San Juan needed help in the staffing, because like a lot of people left in TLA and they needed more people in the office to help with the summer they wanted. And I remember Grace told me that Grace is my manager in San Juan. She was talking to Jeff because they didn't know if they wanted to put me as a branch or as an AM because they needed help. But as Jeff told earlier, I went out on all pushes. I won all the trips. I had multiple 10K pushes. So I had a lot of startup because of the pushes. So because of the pushes I did, I had all the money I needed for startup. I literally proved everyone wrong. So they didn't have a choice but to open an office for me because I did what was supposed to happen. So at the end of the day, maybe Grace didn't have the AM that she needed, but we had another office open and it really worked out for everyone. So you have to, no matter, right now you have a lot of competition. Like you see other people in the room right now, you see that everyone, maybe there's people that has sold more than you right now, but it doesn't matter at this point. Like this push is what determines how will you jump to the next step, will you get there. Because right now there's people that don't sell consistently in the fall and spring. That's basically, maybe you move, you're in classes, you have a lot of stuff going on. But right now you're on winter break. So this is the time, like all my friends know when I have a push. Like all my friends ask me, hey, when's your next push? Because always before the push, I talk to all my friends. I say, these 2 weeks I'm on a money-making vacation. So we're probably not gonna see me as often as you see me every day, but they know it because they understand that that's the time where, okay, maybe I'm not gonna hang with you every day. Maybe I'll see you at nights. Maybe I'll see you like 1 or 2 days a week. But they know that I'm working really hard because they know that at the end of the day, I will probably end up on another trip. I will probably buy something for them in the next yeah. So they really like it too because they know that my success also helps them. So they really appreciate it. So you have to make like everyone understand what you're going through, because not everyone understands what's like being a Saturday here with everyone like dressed very professional. I just left my university. I dressed like this, and everyone thought I was going to a graduation or something. So it really gets me to appreciate the things we do here. So if you have all of that in mind, like they reward us here about everything. Like everything we do, they give us something. They give us trips. They give us like more knives. They give us everything. So we. So yeah, that's great because like you get the motivation. You get all the motivation you need to work hard. And if you work hard, you're gonna make more money. So everyone loves money. Everyone loves going to trips. Like I've hit every single trip that I like can win, because I don't want to miss any trip, because I will miss the experience of, hey, that was an awesome trip. Like, I met new people. I got the chance to talk to the people that really perform. Because in the trips here in Olean, in Atlanta, you see every candidate. You see everyone that's going to TLA. But on the trips, you see the people that really perform. That those are the people you want to be surrounded with. You want to surround yourself with the people that sell a lot, the people that get the top spot. So if you do that, you're gonna be able to learn from them and also create new relationships. That's the thing that's gonna help you in the future. The people that you can call at any time and ask them about something you can do in your office, or the people that are doing the same things that you're doing. So basically, that's what's important. The things you will get out of when you finish the push. That I know it's hard to, like, it's winter break, you're coming home, you're visiting your family, you're catching up with friends. But if you really like make the time to do that with them, but at the same time have the growth you need to enter the next semester with more money, with more confidence, also with a better spot. Like Jeff was telling you guys, everyone's competing for the same spots. So if you have a better push than the person that's right beside you to get bowl card, to get the territory you want, you're probably gonna get it because you work harder, and it proves that you can work under pressure. If Jeff and the management team can see that you work under pressure and that you can pull through 2 weeks that you're working hard, you're selling, they're gonna know that in the summer when you have recruitment, when you have everything going on in your office, you're not gonna freak out because you pushed through it and you came out at the end successfully. So at the end, that's what it's all about, to see that you can manage yourself and organize and be able to sell and be able to, in the summer, if you get a branch spot, to teach others. Because that's the thing, if you don't know how to do it yourself, you're not gonna teach others. Because if you don't know how to sell, you don't know how to make big orders or how to do phone jam, like, how are your reps gonna do it if you don't know how to do it? Like, your reps are a reflection of you. So if you don't do it, they're not gonna do it for you. So it's important that you always get your mind straight before going to pushes. Mentality for me is the most important thing, because you cannot look at a push like it's another week with more demos. Another week with more demos is just another week. So you have to look at it like, what's in it for me? How can you have to enter with a winning mentality. I know that every push that I enter, if there's a trip, if there's anything, I know I'm gonna hit the trip because that's what I'm going for. So you need to shoot for the higher levels, because if you don't hit it for free, at least you hit it in the first level, and $600, like, in, how do you call it, in weekly pays, it's like $50. So it really, it's not everything for us. It's not anything like we cannot do, because we're all inclusive, having a good time. So it really motivates you and gets you, like, to do the things that you're usually not gonna be able to. Because if they told me that I need to work 2 weeks without, like, literally pushing myself and there's no reward at the end, then why do you do it? You do it because you know that it will help you get a better spot, better territory, and also because it will give you more confidence and more money to do the things in the future that you want. So yeah, that's basically it. Thank you.
At least from our side of things, Francisco is one of the only people from last year's FC that hit every trip, and you can see why he's opened up. And I'm gonna flash forward. Not only was he able to earn a branch, that's the first step. So he's now directly going to be working with Andy. Some of you have shadowed with Andy. That's one thing, but he's the next in line to get all the big show shifts for next year, because he went through branch and Andy got a chance to speak to him, and it's a lot of those pushes that added up. So whether you're interested in branching and getting into the full-time selling, or branching twice to grow your business, either way. So thanks, Francisco. Thanks, Dalila. Thanks, Jackson. We have one more special unexpected here. One more thoughts on the push. Let's see if he's available. Do me a favor. Can we, in the meantime, debrief Francisco's real quick?
I like that he said money making vacation.
Yeah,
that was the I said I'm gonna tell my friends.
Go ahead, Dalila.
something that really stood out to me was how he said, and I was kind of saying this too, but I didn't really drive that point as hard as he did. It was great. He was saying how you do this push is going to be how you do your branch summer. And, you know, when you're having all these cancellations, no sales, like everything's hitting the fan, and like you still push through and you still hit your goal. It's the same thing in the summer. When everything's hitting the fan, are you still going to push through and hit your goal? So, like, executives look at that a lot to see, you know, how long you're going to do.
You know, I just went through a second time of these territories and what you want. It all sounds great, but it's really important to prove that if I give you a territory, I'm just going to say Brandon, Florida. Okay, that's one of them. If I give you Brandon, Florida, May and June, you can run Brandon, Florida, but what are you going to do in July and August when it's time for you to sell? Okay. So look at that. And part of why you get a territory is, okay, if you screw up the recruiting part, first of all, that makes you normal because 1/3 of the branches in the region always screw up the recruiting part. That's just business. But everyone has the chance to recover on the second half, which is the selling. Now look at the pushes. And more importantly, what's more memorable, the earlier pushes or the latest push? What's the most memorable? Yeah, whatever's most recent. So do I remember your SC2? Kind of, sort of. You might remember more than me because you probably, some of you hang your heads high in your SC2. I have moved on. I have since moved on through SC2 because SC2 got you into TLA. That's all I care about. But some of you keep, yeah, but my SC2, it's like that dad. When I was in shape, but you're not. I'm 40, so my friends are 40-ish. Yeah, back when I was in shape, but you're not. It's like old story. When I was in high school and college and I was 50 pounds lighter, I was like, you're not 50 pounds lighter. That's the problem. So stop thinking about SC2 and the pushes that count now. What did you do in September and October, in November, and of course this push. So, yes, sir.
Your reps are a direct reflection of you.
The reps are a direct reflection of you, and they sell according to the way that you sell. Their mentality on selling. It's a big part of it. Last few, go ahead, Tristan.
So, you know, like, push so hard, sell so hard that the company doesn't have a choice. They have to give you territory.
Sell so hard that the company has to promote you. Think about that. It's pretty cool. One more, Sean.
Going back to what Jackson said, you can't ever push your kids to do something you never do.
One more time.
You can never push your kids to do something that you have never done.
I agree. I agree. Hey, go all out for a push and try to break records, but if you don't even know how to do it. You know what's really sad is when you try to have a customer that will call in and a rep will call in for you and they want to close a big one, you don't even know how to close it because you've never done it. That's really rough. Customer here is interested in possibly a kitchen.
You did not.
The customer is interested in a kitchen. Oh. Right. How many of you raise your hand if you could confidently close on a homemaker, cookware, flatware, and get a good deal? Pretty confident. Yeah. You can't do that if you haven't done it yourself. So we have one more special guest. I'm going to put you on. You ready? Do what you're doing before. Ready? From the North Pole, everybody. Thoughts on the push? You guys ready?
It's an elf. Santa?
Oh, it's a South Pole elf.
It's a Jewish Santa from Jersey. What's going on, man?
What up? What up?
Hey, so here, let me do this so you can see.
Saw it.
You said it really well.
Yay! Wow, what a good-looking crew! I'll tell you what.
No, but what about these guys? What about these guys?
Very good-looking crew.
Okay, so needs no introduction, but if you haven't met Mike, the three of you that are new, Mike Abramowitz is our championship district manager over on the west coast of Florida United, running the Clearwater organization. With 2 weeks to go, just shy of their $1 million annual goal. With 2 weeks to go, just shy of taking over the first place spot for that Silver Cup district race. And with 2 weeks to go, just a lot of exciting things happening on that side of Florida. Mike is enjoying family time and holiday time and house hunting time and Tommy time. Yeah, Tommy is one of our 3 mascots. We have 3 canine mascots that represent Florida United. We have one over here, one in the back, and one on the virtual. So we are well represented amongst canines. Mike, you've got, if you don't mind, 5-7 minutes. I know you wanted to chime in. Mike was hounding me and asking, can I say a few thoughts? I'd love to spit some fire, if you will. Well, fire is yours to spit if you choose.
Cool. So first off, I just want to thank all of you guys for
taking a Saturday and taking a Friday in some cases away from your family, your loved ones, your selling, your business. You just finished up exams in most cases. So I just want to tell you, kudos to you for doing today what others won't, so you can do tomorrow what others can't. So very, very exciting. Very proud to be a part of this division. And I want to tell you, really, my tips are going to come from two different personal experiences. My first one was my very first winter break push ever. I was in a giant slump coming off the summer. I left the summer. I sold like 16, 17 grand for my first summer selling Cutco. Moved down to Tampa knowing nobody and had a slump of 2 sales for 21 appointments during the course from summer all the way through Olean event. It was awful. And all my supporters during the summer started telling me that, it's not going to work out. It was good while it lasted. And I went to the Olean conference. I came back from Olean, and I started getting some momentum. And I set a goal. Back then, FSM was 25K. And I set that goal. I'm going to sell this other 7 grand between Olean and Christmas. And it came down to these 2 weeks that we're in right now. This week that we're in and next week. And I was just all of a sudden started getting these holiday orders coming in. And I was within $500 on Christmas Eve. And I ended up calling one of my past customers who told me to call them back around Christmas, Rhonda Newton. And she ended up buying a Studio Plus 4 and a pair of Super Shears to put me over my field sales manager goal. And I remember I called my manager. It was Christmas Eve. Chris Sankey was my PSM at the time. And I called him to celebrate. I said, I freaking hit it. I wrote him the note in Olean. I told him I was going to hit FSM. I hit it on Christmas Eve. It was a huge deal for me. I share this with you, this story, because I had a deeper, compelling reason outside of just selling Cutco. And it was something that I shared with other people. It was something I came from the ruts, and I made it happen because I had unwavering faith, and I had extraordinary effort, and I was willing to do the uncomfortable. The uncomfortable was share it with people, and the uncomfortable was willing to call people on the most awkward day of the year, which is Christmas Eve, to try to hit a goal. So I share, number one, make the phone calls during this time of year. Don't make up a story in your head. And number two, set a goal and share with other people. To transition to my second thought for you, my first time I won this winter break trip, I sold the month of December over $5,000 for the month of December, which set me up to sell $9,500 the first week of the year as the #1 representative in the country for that first week of the year. $9,500. I had a 5K Wednesday during that push. And that set me up for a record-breaking January of 18 grand and winning a scholarship that semester. So when I was doing my appointments, it was a trip to Cancun, Mexico. I made 400 phone calls leading up to that 1 week. It was a 1 week contest. You sell 6K and you win a trip to Cancun. I sold 9,500. 6K, 1 week. No PR credit, none of that stuff. 6K, you win. I went out and I did that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, leading up to that 1 week. 400 phone calls. And I'll tell you, 400 phone calls, I booked up like 15 or 16 appointments. I was tenacious. I was ruthless. I was relentless. I would not back down from getting my appointments booked up. I started the push on that Tuesday. I had 4 appointments. It was New Year's Day. 2 canceled. 1 was a no sale and 1 was a petite slicer. So I started the day with a petite slicer after making 400 phone calls. The second day, I drove all the way out to Lakeland. I had 4 appointments that day. First one, homemaker. Second one, studio. Third one, upgrade to an ultimate. I had a 2K day. I was on fire. The next day was a Wednesday. I had 30 leads in Wesley Chapel in this money area called Saddlebrook. I had only 30 leads. I must have called those 30 leads probably maybe 6, 7, 8 times each leading up to that Wednesday because I wanted a full day's worth of appointments. And I booked up 12 of those 30 in that one neighborhood. I completed 8 appointments on that Wednesday, and I sold 5 grand in that one day of that Cancun push because of strategy, because of organization, because of preparedness, and because of an insatiable hunger to make phone calls. And I hit that 6K going into that Wednesday night team meeting. I had a conversation with my division manager at the time, Matt King, and he says, Mike, you already hit the trip. I was like, I'm so excited to take the rest of the week off. He says, Mike, if you take the rest of the week off before you go into school, all this momentum you just built is going to go to waste. Let's find a different goal that you can be excited about. He said, you've never won a scholarship. You've never broken a region record. What about that? I was like, you think I could do it? He said, I think you can. You have a lot of momentum right now. Ride that wave. So I crushed another 400 phone calls going to that weekend. I sold another $3,000. It was like 20 something hundred, over $9,500 a week. And I ended up having an 18K month and won an All-American. And then I went into my first district summer, and we were number 2 in the region, number 3 in the country. Yeah, here's the point. There was a bigger reason outside of just winning the trip. It was the record. It was a scholarship. It was momentum for my district office. It was more about the trip, and I made it significant for me. I had people in my corner cheering me on. So I share these stories with you because I think it's important leaving this event today with having strategies in place, organization in place, taking this next 2 weeks to build momentum with your personal sales, with your phone calls, and next week, start crushing it on phone calls for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the Tuesday after Christmas. Crush it. Who cares about how many calls? 400 calls? I challenge you to rival my 400. See what you could do. And I would love for one of you to start giving this message and having such an unbelievable story like many testimonies just happened before me. So that was probably about 5 or 6 minutes. I just figured I would share some thoughts on that. I don't know if there's 1 or 2 minutes left if anyone has a question that you want me to field or anything.
No, I have a question. What do you appreciate?
Yeah, what I appreciate right now is Lindsay and I are working through this closing of a house and trying to make it happen. I don't know if it's going to. I mean, we're seeing, trying to do things on our own right now. And if we can make it happen, we can. If not, no big deal. But trying to be independent business owners, you know, when it comes to everything in life. So I'm excited about that.
Thanks for sharing, Mike. You're timely. I think your energy has brought us right to our first break. And for what it's worth, we absolutely crushed yesterday's A Squad prep, did we not? Yes? And we have absolutely been 100% engaged during this morning's prep, and we're about to be engaged as we use the restroom and go to break here and debrief. So
Nothing different. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having me chime in. My pleasure.
Thanks, brother. We'll talk soon. Catch up. Tell Lindsay hi.
All right. Bye.
And don't forget. We'll talk soon.
Later.
See ya. Okay. Let's do this. I would love Yeah, volume of calls. You know. You might be clear this up real quick. Thank you. Yeah, give it. Thank you.
Want the charger?
Yes, sir. I think when you hear number of calls, okay? If 400 is a number you hear from Mike and go, wow, you can tell the type of rep I think you have been or that you've been accustomed to being by how that number seems. To me, 100 doesn't, it seems like 4 normal phone jams for me. But if you don't phone jam often, then 400 can seem like a large amount. But that's usually not related to actions as much as it is to what. Meaning, when you have a hard time thinking that 400 is easy and it's a lot of calls for you, guys, come on in. What tends to be the issue? It's not the activity. It's not even the thought of phone jamming. What's the big factor behind a low producing phone time? Habits and one more. Before you even get to the phone jam, what's got to be set up?
Attack list.
Your attack list. If you don't have, right, Eric, if you don't have your attack list, I could be really excited, but you were part of Fort Lauderdale Inferno. If you didn't have an attack list over a certain number, we made you make the same. We made you make the calls. That means you're calling the same 80 people over and over again. That's really rough, but we made you do it. Some of you are part of that. Not many of you did it, but some of you, we made you call the same people over and over and over and over. Cool. Other takeaways so far?
Doing the uncomfortable.
Say it again.
Doing something that makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think Galila even said that, where you want to go out of your comfort zone. That's a big part of it. If you're just doing what's really easy, well, how about this? Our division hasn't had great pushes, so don't do that anymore. Let's get back to what we did in July. Let's get back to best practices. And can anyone guess what the confidence, where I gained so much confidence as to why TLA is going to explode, specifically during the winter break push for Punta Cana?
Happens every year.
Happens every year. That's part of it. Actually, one more that trumps that, believe it or not. It's 2 words. Go ahead.
Challenges.
Yes, but no. Ready? You're right and no. You're right and no. No, yes, and you're right and no. That's not why I'm so confident.
Last chance.
That's up there. It's pressure. Ready? No school. 1 week of no school is going to be for some of you 3 weeks if you're selling that first during class. We did the 3-to-1 ratio. I really believe in that. Some of you have sold maybe 1 to 2 grand in the last 2 to 4 weeks. It's really pitiful and sad considering what you did to get into TLA. But I know you can do it because muscles have memory. Muscles have memory. If you've been in shape, you can get back into shape. If you've sold and been a TLA pusher, you've been part of that doing the job culture, if you've been part of that, we kick people off, as savage as it was off of that group chat, and SC2 could get it, they still after 3, 4, 5, 6 times don't know what to post. That's okay. You can remember that. You can retrain yourself and reprogram. And you take out the conflict of school, that's one less thing that's already taken out of the cake that we're baking here. Okay. Real quick, we're going to distribute the calendars, and as we do that, thanks, gents. Luke's going to go through the key benchmarks. Raise your hand if you have not had a one-on-one planning session where you set your goals with your manager yet. There might be 2 or 3 of you. Okay, make sure you and Elena put something together, post it up. Anyone else? Who has a goal that puts you on the trip? Raise your hand. Who has a goal that if you hit 1, 2, or 3 of the goals, low, medium, or high, you're on the trip? I would absolutely love to be in Punta Cana with 40, 50 of us representing United. Raise your hand. Actually, David Delgado, you're going to count. How many hands? Raise your hand if your goals, if you hit low, medium, or high, will put you on the trip. We're going to count. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up.
16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21,
If you're not raising your hand,
25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 42.
42. Okay. And that doesn't include La Isla, the Puerto Rico, and they're doing their push right now. So 40 plus representing Punta Cana. Here's what I'll offer, and I don't think this is the most motivating, but for fun. If we can get 40 plus people there, I'll pay for it, and I'll bring the uniform. Okay? AKA the matching t-shirt.
Jumpsuits out.
No,
Smart
jumpsuits.
business people. Smart business.
So I'll make the Florida United t-shirts, and that'll be our uniform for the at least for the first part of the beach before everyone dives in and no t-shirts needed. Got it? Okay. No introduction, but what I do want to say about Luke even though it's not needed, is that Luke, time and time again, as many traits as you might fill in that you use to describe Luke's, I guess, personality and tenure with us. One thing I love about Luke is consistency. Luke is consistent. What he says is consistent. How he acts, how he treats people is pretty consistent. His performance is consistent. How he shows up, his support. And what I love, and I'm going to find this picture. I was scrolling through for some other talks. And I found a picture of Luke when he was going into his senior year of high school. It's a picture of he and I think you came from track practice. Long, shaggy hair. Okay. It's the two of us. I don't know what we're doing. We're right here. And I think, and I started laughing going, wow, this was the Luke. The Luke that I had was a young, really rambunctious, fun high school student who, you know, to this day, or now up to this point now, has created what's going to be an awesome career for him with our company. He just had a call with Scott Dennis, our region manager, and I had an immediate text exchange with Scott after, and he said, wow, it is really easy to understand why you love working in that pilot with Luke. I said, I know, I told you. Right? And it's joking, but he understands me. So I'm going to ask that you stay fully engaged. Pen and paper, you can go right to the calendar. Even though if you already have your own, this might be that second version, that 2.0 version of a calendar. Here's what I know that I really want you to take from this, is creating massive action for benchmarks that you were taking lightly before this meeting. I'll say it again. Taking massive actions for urgency benchmarks that maybe you were taking a little bit lightly going into this meeting. Like, for example, oh, I got time for that attack list. You don't. Right now. Oh, I know. I'll definitely get a ride with 5 by the 23rd. When was the last time you did that? Oh, I'll have 20 to start. When was the last time you had 10 to start a push? Okay? So at this point, here's what should have been done. PC with your manager. Lay out agreements, just like PDI. What do the agreements mean? Well, some of you have things that are already set in motion, set in stone, that you negotiate and talk about before we agree to the contract. I think of Mila, for example, going away. And if history repeats itself, you'll still have a good push, just like last time. I'm okay with you having to go away. Sorry, Siri, stop. Siri, stop. I'm okay with you leaving for durations of the push. I'm okay with you not being in town. I'm not okay with making an agreement and you don't follow through. That's the difference. We were even having a fun conversation about my flexibility pattern. I'm not flexible. I'm really open before the agreement's made. That's not really flexible, because once the agreement's made, I'm actually zero flexible once an agreement's made. I think you should be too. Cool? So one thing I know about Luke is that when he comes up, he loves it when you make high-pitched noises. Ladies and gentlemen, Luke Maseko.
He hate high-pitched noises. Yeah, if you didn't know, I did track, by the way. 300 hurdles was my event. So. It's a joke. No 300 hurdles. No 300 hurdles. They did put me in. They did put me in at one time though, and that was really funny. So
You did shot put like this.
I did shot put, crushed it. Just yeah. But yeah. So Liar looks like he's in a photo shoot right now.
I've been dying.
But yeah, guys, I mean, we've heard multiple people come up and tell you they've seen this push and other pushes, but just to reiterate, like this push, it's the biggest non-summer push by far. And to be frank, you guys, I mean, as a United team, we have not sold for fall pushes. Yeah, and I don't know about you, it was pretty cool to sit with the president of Cutco at the banquet. It was really cool to have the most impressive team there, but it wasn't cool to have the team that had very little sales. You know, we very clearly had the most impressive team in Olean, and we got smoked when it came to sales. You know, we need to. It's an important time for us, the division, to raise it up and for us to, you know, get back onto the level of being the team that's on top, get back where we were for SC2. You know, it's important to make a statement. It's also important to make money. You know, I was running PCs with you guys, and what's funny is I'd say 95% of you are the highest paid of any of your friends. Can we agree on that? Right? You're the highest paid of any of your friends, but somehow half of you are broke. How is that possible? Okay, so this push is important for making money. You know, it's important for building your startup for wherever you're going to be next summer. You know, even the assistant positions are going to be based off startup. One of the people that are best set up for branch the following year. You know, assistants that go branch the following year, Grant and Kirsten, have a ton in startup. You know, so we want to be able to set you up for success, and you know, the territories that you get through the different management opportunities you're going to get are all going to be based on how much startup you have. When I was in Boca, I mean, hopefully no one has to do this, but when I was in Boca, I had to pay $7,000 up front for my office lease. Up front. And if I didn't have $7,000 in startup, I wasn't gonna be able to branch. That's all that was available at the time. You know, so make sure you're bolstering that. That's why we do territory decisions after this push, because we need to see everyone start up right after the push. Okay. But yeah, the biggest challenges for this push, I think, where we can take it up compared to other fall pushes are, first of all, we got to be more organized. You know, I feel like the other pushes weren't incredibly organized. It wasn't completely clear. Like, half people didn't even know when the push started. You know, you just kind of have a team meeting and all of a sudden, oh, cool, Olean pushes here, or SLC pushes here. You know, with the exception of a few people, very few people sold for the push. You know, so I want to make sure organization is on point. I want to make sure our schedule's clear, which is what I'm going to cover today, is going through the schedule. We need to make sure your goals are clear, too. You know, the must, could, should is not just a number to throw out there to meet the quota for whatever Jeff wants. You know, make it something that it means to you. Make it like it was for SC2. We're going to have an alliance so that you put your goals on the board every single day, and it's visual, and you can look at it. And, you know, make it mean something more than it meant for the previous pushes. Okay, so make your goals clear, stay organized, make sure the schedule's clear. So let's go through the schedule. Start right here. We're on the 15th, or on the 16th. This week, skills checks begin. Skills checks begin. Don't overlook this part because, you know, regardless of where you are, you're probably rusty. You guys are probably rusty, and I see it time and time again where people try to pick it up after not doing anything, and you're terrible. You have a couple no sales here and there, and I see some people that have been here multiple years nodding your head right now because you know how hard it is to just pick it up and go, and you want to implement everything you learned at SC2. Some of you haven't sold since SC2. You know, and we've learned all this stuff at SC2. It's like, cool, I get to implement this. The biggest thing I can stress right now, go back to the basics. You know, go back, you can literally read your manual word for word. You're probably going to do better off than trying to be fancy with it. You know, go back to the basics. Get your skills check with your manager. You know, you need to get rid of the rust. Don't get lost with all the fluff of being fancy with everything. Don't try to get too fancy because that's when stuff just goes down the drain, okay? On the 20th, attack lists are due, okay? And this is where I want to spend really the majority of my time with how important this is, because raise your hand if you think you made a lot of calls for SC2. Okay, think again. You don't know what a lot of calls is until you've had a winter break push, okay? A lot of times you do end up selling more because people buy more stuff, but you know, the most important thing is how many demos you ever complete. And to be quite frank, in Christmas season, people will buy more on the demos because people are in a buying mood during Christmas season, but it is hard to get those demos. You know, people are constantly out of town. People are constantly busy. They got family in town, this and that. Now, they're also working a little bit less, so sometimes it can be easier, but it's a lot harder to go through with the demos and get them completed. And in the end of the day, demo completions will matter. You know, so be prepared for that. You know, be prepared to make twice as many calls as you made. I remember coming back. My first time, I like dropped everything and then came back to push. I remember my first phone jam back. I made 100 phone calls and booked one demo. I was like, what is this? And that's going to happen to a lot of you. And I don't want to hear you complain. I want you to move on to the next one. If you made 100 calls, good job. Because a lot of you won't make 100 calls because you're scared to pick up the freaking phone. Okay? But yeah, I mean, I just make sure you take advantage of that and get as many demos as possible. Because once you're on the demos, it's going to come back. You know, your first few will definitely be rusty, but if you go back to the base, it's going to come back. You'll end up selling a lot more. People are in a buying mood. Okay? But it's just a lot harder to lock down the appointment. So make sure you're mentally prepared for that. Make sure you have – that's why having this attack list prepared is so important. Because whatever – it says 100 to 200, but I think how you should think of it, unless you have less than 50 right now, which if that's the case, you're in the emergency zone. But whatever you have right now, do whatever you can to double it. You know, start to think of who you have on the attack list, and not just that, but start to think of where they're coming from as well. You know, a lot of us from the summer – they're like every single person you're recommended to from the summer should be on this attack list. You know, even if they told you straight up no to the demo, they should be on this attack list. You know, unless someone said, "Do not call me anymore," those are the only people that wouldn't be on this attack list. If you called them and asked for a demo, they just said no, I'm putting them on there again. If they were always out of town, putting them on there again. You know, if they were the person you called 10 times every single week, every week of the summer, you never got a hold of them, put them on there again. You know, a lot of people are much more available now than they were in the summer, just like some people are more available in the morning than they are at night. Same thing happens with the season. Some people are much more available now. They're going to be able to pick up the phone. I've definitely had people where I've called them the entire summer, and then I just didn't call them all fall and spring, or I didn't call them all fall, came back for a winter push and called them. Like, oh, you should have called me sooner. I've been looking for cut kills. I called you 70 times this summer. Okay, but... You know, you guys are going to be professionals at playing phone tag by the end of this push. Right? You should all have D1 scholarships for phone tag. Okay. So yeah, whatever your attack list is, double it. Be conscious of where they're coming from. Go back to mom and dad. Mom and dad have met a lot of people these past 6 months. Most of you started the job over 6 months ago. You probably haven't asked for people from mom and dad for 6 months. Go right back to where the money came from. This is from that initial names list. Create a new initial names list. You know, the people you've met in college. You've met a lot of people this year. Redo a names list assignment with yourself if you need to expand. But you know, we talk a lot about how the sales opportunity can make you very entrepreneurial and all you can take from it. But just the value that you're able to take from starting up again and really get things going from scratch, that's where the real lessons start to come in. You know, and that's where the attack list is going to be the basis for how good your push is. People with huge attack lists are going to have a lot easier pushes because they're going to be able to make a ton of phone calls. Like Jeff said, if you have 80, cool, you're calling those 80 over and over again. That's not going to be fun. Okay, so 100 to 200 minimum. Try to get above that. If you can get 300-400 range, it's going to be a lot better. All right, calling every single one of your old recs you have from the summer. And yeah, so then right after that, we've got Head Start Phone Jam. Head Start Phone Jam 1, 2, and 3. And here's what I'll say about that is I don't care how it gets done, but by the time that third Head Start Phone Jam's done, you need to have 5 appointments booked up for the push. All right, write that down if that's not, I don't think that's on there yet. By the time those 3 are done, you'd have minimum 5 appointments ahead of you. Don't care how it gets done. Now, here's the suggestions. If your goal is 4 or 5K, just do 1 Head Start Phone Jam. Okay, if your goal is, I believe it's down here, it says 6K, do 2 of the Head Start Phone Jams. Okay, but if you're going for the trip, which I'm pretty sure every one of your hands was up, that you should be participating in all the phone jams, okay, to make sure that you have at least 5 appointments ahead of you. All right, because after that, here's how it works. We want 5 appointments ahead of you by the time Head Start Phone Jams are over. After Christmas, coming into the all-day phone jam on Kwanzaa, the 26th, you're going to want 10 coming into that phone jam. And then by the time that phone jam's over, you should have 20 lined up. Okay, why is this? I mean, why is this so much more than most other pushes? Because these appointments are harder to make them stick. They're harder to complete because of the time of year. So you're going to want to have 20, start double booking because you're going to want to have 20 appointments lined up by the time you leave it. That's how you're going to set yourself up for a successful push. Okay. Everyone got those numbers written down? Because those are assignments, by the way. Those are assignments. 5 by the time Head Start's over, 10 by the time you get the phone jam, and then hopefully 20 by the time you leave. All right. So after that, we're going to have all-day phone jam. All-day phone jam start at 12:30 to 9:30, just like the good old SC2 days. And we'll have potluck brunch beforehand and all that. Day after Christmas. Always a great day. And then after that, we're going to have push alliance meetings starting in the morning. And for those of you that are in TLA, I really want to stress this is an opportunity. One of the things I talked about with Scott is opportunities for people to step up as leaders. And if you're in TLA, this alliance is an opportunity for you guys to step up as leader. You know, if you think back to your alliance, there's probably a couple reps here and there that stepped up as leaders, did a lot of the teaching, did a lot of the motivating. And this is an opportunity for you guys, like Dalila was saying, where you can go from the bottom 10% all the way to the upper 10% based on your performance this push. A lot of that is going to be your role in the alliance. You know, and so no matter who you are, try to step it up for the alliance, okay? In the pilot, who remembers our most important metric, like the magic number that we had during our alliance? What were we tracking constantly? What was the most important single number? Demos completed. Okay, so you all, for the alliance, we're going to do the same thing on the board. We're going to have all the demos you need completed each day. Okay, so if you didn't go over that on your PC, meet again with your manager, or if you know how to do the math, you can do it. Okay, if you don't, meet with your manager, figure out how many demos you need to complete to get your goal. Not how many do you need to book, not how many phone calls you need to make. We can work that math backwards, but what you need to know is how many you need to complete come hell high water every single day. Break it up into individual days. That's going to be the most important thing with that alliance, is making sure we're tracking that, make sure demo completion is tracked. It's going to be the most important number for you guys there, okay? I'll be running the push alliances here, and I think that's what I'm most excited about, lead alliance again. It's going to be fun. If you flip it over, we go to post-Christmas in January. Wait, where is it? Here we go. Oh, that last week's on that twice. I was so confused. Okay. So that, on the 27th, is going to be the first conference call. Everyone circle it, highlight it, underline it, tell your future kids. All right, that's going to be the first conference call. It's going to be that Wednesday. And then this schedule, and it's got those appointment slots for you. It's got the times you can do demos. So first conference call that Wednesday. And by the way, we're going to leave no wiggle room for, oh, dude, Luke, I got a 10 on a 10. I got to go. No, you're here for that conference call. Okay, there's no, well, I didn't know it was today. Okay, you're here for the conference call. We can't have it be loose like everyone leaves because they have a 10 o'clock demo, right? That day, don't book a demo until 10:30 because, or let's see, what time's conference call? Yeah, it goes till 9:45. So don't book demos till 10:30. All right?
Here, I'm sorry, this is my personal pet peeve. Schedule is laid out, and then someone in the line says, Mike, all right? We're giving you the times to start the appointment so you don't miss the call. You can't stay for when Taylor Max is going to spit some of the most unbelievable education on how to sell because they booked it them up the wrong time. So make sure you pay attention to that schedule. I'm okay with you having a demo that's later, where maybe you couldn't get it at 10 after the conference call.
10:30.
Yeah, I'm okay if it starts at 11, 11:30, but don't put an appointment that causes you to have to leave one of only 3 conference calls where the first one's going to be me, the second one's going to be Taylor Max Ricard, the third's going to be Michael Brown. So you don't want to miss those conference calls. These are all part of the process.
It's a lineup right there. Jeez. Jeff, Taylor Max, and the Michael Brown ones. Write that in. That's awesome.
What's up for your family's already kind of family trip over to Texas?
That's the person that's cover that with the manager. So yeah, the conference calls, there's going to be that one. On the 2nd, there will be the other conference call. That'll be the Taylor Max conference call. You guys know, don't miss Taylor Max conference calls. And then on the 8th, it'll be the Micah Brownwood's conference call. As you know, don't miss Micah Brownwood's conference calls. Those are awesome. Especially when it's a time when we know we're going to be rusty, when you need to hone in your skills. Those conference calls are becoming even more and more important to make sure you're on them, okay? For the new guys, just wait till you get on these conference calls. Just fire hose of knowledge that's going to be squirted. It's crazy. Insane. So I would say one of the hardest things about the push is navigating holidays. So I want to talk about navigating holidays a little bit. New Year's Eve. At Vector, just in general, a lot of people are very guilty of letting the 10% affect their whole view on how things go. There's going to be people that are out of town. There's going to be people that are hard to book, and I know that. Okay, and there's going to be people that are like, you're calling me on a holiday? Well, that's going to be the 10%. Right? Don't let that 10% just spoil the rest of the bunch. And don't limit yourself just based off that 10%. Don't get discouraged because the one person told you that you called them on a holiday. You know what people do on holidays? They don't go to work. They stay home and wait for Cucko Kids to call them all day. What are people really doing on New Year's Eve? Like, if they're doing something, they're probably out on the boat and don't get reception anyway, and they're not going to answer the phone. Okay, if they answer the phone.
I think this is one of the most important things, especially since I've come down here to South Florida. The original division I ran was also a very affluent division. It was in DC Metro. When the recession hit, there's no recession where I'm from. I'm from Washington, D.C., Maryland, high state taxes. People had money, still had money. You guys understand what I'm saying by that? It was, okay, my house is no longer worth $1 million, it's worth $700. Sorry. Like that kind of deal sometimes. And you're always going to deal with that. For example, we're using the boat example. That tends to be the South Florida way, right? I have money on a boat. It's just kind of coincides. We're in Argentina. There are people during holidays that do everything. That 1/3, that 10, 15%, that when it's a holiday, they can afford and they prioritize from 7 a.m. to maybe an overnight, or let's go to Europe for the holiday. That's fine, but that's only. I mean, there's a reason why they're called the affluent or the top 5, 10%, because that's only 5, 10, 15, maybe 20%, not of your customers, but of the country. You guys see that? The majority of customers, I can tell you, do one of 3 things during New Year's. It's either then take out college students' New Year's. It's different. Okay? It's either, wow, it's a day off and I get to sleep in tomorrow. I do an early dinner, party, lunch, meal, and then I'm in bed early. Or I do a party, but I don't start that till after 7 anyway. I'm talking about for us old people. You're supposed to say here.
You're not old, Jeff.
So I'm just telling you. Heidi and I, we're going out Saturday night, so that the Eve we don't have to deal with the crazy traffic and people. We're just gonna watch fireworks off our island. It's easier instead of being in the mix, and I don't want to deal with that. And I know most of our friends are doing the same thing. And we're to the point we don't have kids yet. I'm technically maximizing the kids. Most of our friends that say, "Oh, we're going out and do something wild and large all day and all night, and I'm going to sleep until noon or 1 to recover on Monday." all of our friends that do that, the majority of our friends go to. You could be catching up on rest. You could be watching Blacklist on Netflix. And just true story. The reason I'm so much more convicted in this because I'm closer to being. I'm a bad customer now versus when I was in college. Just food for thought.
I don't think my dad's ever seen the ball drop. He's always been in bed by like 9. And
Smart man.
yeah, they invented TVs when he was like 30, and he hasn't seen the ball drop. So he's that kind of guy. But yeah, most people are not doing a thing. Okay, most people, if anything, are more available on those days. So there's no phone jam there on New Year's Eve. But what time do people actually do things on New Year's Eve if they are doing something? Midnight. Don't call them at midnight. We cool? Okay. I would still call people on that day, honestly. New Year's Eve, I'm not offended if someone calls me on New Year's Eve. Right? New Year's Day even, it has phone jam in there, 5:30 to 9:30. Why? Because people are more available, and the people that aren't available won't answer the phone. Okay, so I want to make sure you're mentally prepared for holidays. You don't psych yourself out because of the 10% of people that aren't available. All right. And yeah, so then we got Push Alliance from there, obviously conference calls and everything. It looks like there's room for roughly 4 or 5 appointments every day, and that's on a conservative schedule. Yeah, that's on a conservative schedule. You can really fit in even more because most of these have you ending the day at 4 o'clock anyway. Okay. Another note, make sure Thursdays you're keeping it. Notice the start if booked. All right, make sure just like the summer, you keep the Moneymaker phone jam on Thursdays if you don't meet your goals on Wednesdays. Okay. I would say really the last thing to note on here is the week after the push ends, we got A Squad prep on January 13th. All right, that'll be for any $1,000 startup or letter of intent. I guess it's more than 1,000 then. We'll be on pace, but anyone on pace to branch will be for that A Squad prep. If you were at A Squad yesterday, if you weren't at A Squad yesterday, use this prep to get you to the level where you can come to the A Squad prep. Okay, but then right after that, you have final territory decisions and territory Facebook trending for the summer. All right. There's a reason that's the week after the push, because this is the push to make a statement. You know, this is the push where United needs to get back on top. This is the push where, you know, we've kind of slacked the past 2 fall pushes, and we can't have that again. You know, let's start off the spring being back where we were, dominant as a division again, and let's go into year-end banquet with higher sales than anyone else. You know, I want to go into year-end banquet being the most impressive team there. It's at the same hotel where it was where SE2 was. All right, that's our stomping grounds. We own that place. So let's get back there and let's own it. Cool? Let's get it. Cool, let's get it. Let's get it.
Okay, write down big 2 or 3 light bulbs quickly. My square off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it.
All right. Top 2 or 3 takeaways. Write it down quickly. 2 or 3 takeaways or big action steps quickly. And Mr. Denny's up next. Close off.
Yeah.
That's how you turn it on. I'll tell you. I'll text you. You know what I'm talking about?
Hardly.
You look back.
Okay.
And I saw you. Sorry.
I know
We're on the same page. 10 seconds. Okay. So here's how we're gonna take the rest of the meeting. We're gonna talk about advanced recs and really getting things down as the handouts go out. We're gonna talk about phone time, and we'll wrap up with opening your appointment as a refresher. I want to say this, and I brought this up slightly earlier. We did such a great job as Florida United divisionally. We had 2 offices that 3 offices that absolutely crushed the push: Clearwater, Metro Miami, and the Pilot. We had a lot of great individual performances, and some of you still don't know how to sell Cutco. We have people take trophies that I still think don't know how to sell Cutco. If I were to ask for some of you who are over 15, 20, and 30K in sales to do your appointment, I still think you would not really know how to sell Cutco. But what you're great at is finding good contacts. I'll take that any day of the week to start, because you can progressively get better. But see, don't let talent overdo your technique. There's a saying, TNT, it's technique, not talent. Focus on technique, not talent. Okay. But speaking of technique and talent, I want to speak briefly about Mr. Brandon Denny. You know, I met Brandon Denny on one of our first January trips. Do you remember this? You were in the back of a bus. You had a big blue. You don't remember? I do vividly. You had this was your first trip. What was your first trip? Jamaica.
First was Cabo.
You and someone else. I can't remember. Remember you have some Bluetooth speaker.
Classic.
It was Orlando. Okay, and you guys are in the back, and you guys were jamming. I said, who is playing this music really loud? And it was Brandon and Orlando. And maybe I was irritated at the time. I don't remember. And then I remember speaking to the division manager, Matt, and I remembered vividly. Matt goes, "Oh no, those two, they're good." I said, "Okay," and I trust Matt. Matt's a colleague. I said, "Cool." And I've since then watched both those individuals progress through the business at a high level. Specifically to Brandon, here's what people always say, whether it's Carlos who works with him now, Matt is former division manager, current colleagues, and just people who have witnessed his, even Larry Manley, who got a chance to work with you, Brandon. They say, man, this guy really understands the selling portion of the business, and he could equally be successful either direction as a CSP or a district. And I think that's a really big compliment. It's a really big compliment for Mr. Denny. So coming a long way from blasting that Bluetooth speaker in the back of the bus, Orlando and Brandon. Brandon, I've asked Brandon to speak about recommendations. One of his strong points as a representative, he's been able to go to 3 or 4 different markets because he's branched abroad several times. Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Vero Beach, and then back home in his Tampa area. And he has 3 different rec bases. He hits all the trips, and part of it is his attack list and recommendation culture. So to give you a few tips, one thing I do know about Brandon that what gets him excited to come up is when you make clapping noises with your elbows. Ladies and gentlemen, Brandon Denny. That was really funny.
I was trying to see how that was going
I know.
All right.
Just your viewless watch.
So first off, I want to say, if you're here right now, that means that you're committed to success and that you're in the right spot and you're here for a reason. I would also say that if you're taking the right steps right off the bat, we're all going to be in the right place when it comes down to it. We're going to be smart business people. So make sure you guys are taking some notes. I'm going to give y'all some extra tips on recommendations. But what I love about this position is really what you put in is what you get out here. I'm excited to give this message because it's simple, but this is one of the most strongest driving forces of your business, and that's recommendations. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to plug through recommendations throughout the demo. I'm going to give you a simple but effective way how to get recommendations almost every single time you're on an appointment. I'm also going to give you some thought joggers, how to get baller customers, getting like those baller neighborhoods that you want to get into. Also, how and what to say to get the customer to send out the text message, heads up, and the follow-up behind that. Also going to give you some basic objections on how to handle those throughout what you're going to get when you're asking for recommendations and just the mentality throughout. Okay, so let's go and start off with plugging through recommendations throughout the demo. So right off the bat, you can plug this anywhere throughout the demo, but first off, you can want to start off right on the phone. So quick tip right off the bat is when I am calling Miss Susie and I'm like, hey, I was referred by your friend Barbara, I'm going to write that in my planner when I book her, because then that's an extra tip to like building rapport. And building rapport, of course, is a major deal when it comes down to creating that connection. So right off the bat, I have in my planner who's referred by. So automatically, I can build the rapport right away when I'm in the demo. So building that rapport, paint that picture. You want to create the picture that everyone's really, really nice. And what I mean by that is when I go to the appointment, when I'm in the appointment, I go, Miss Jones, this is a really nice neighborhood. Are like your neighbors, are they cool? Are they cool people? So I'm asking that as everyone's been able to help me out so far in the neighborhood, as well as over to see your friend, I'm like name dropping as well. So you have awesome like this is an awesome neighborhood. How are the neighbors? I'm always asking that. Hey, do you like your neighbors? Are they cool? More likely than not, they're either going to tell you, yeah, I love them. Like we have a really close community here, or it's like, yeah, I don't even talk to my neighbors, right? So with that, it's not just saying to have like a nice neighborhood or anything like that, because if they don't have a nice neighborhood, do not say that. It's like Miss Jones is going to see that like genuine, and she's going to read that. So make sure you're genuine with like the compliments that you're giving out. So a couple extra things, like find out where they're from. Usually we're here in Florida, there's not a lot of people are from Florida. What I found is like when I'm doing a lot of demos and like service calls and stuff like that, they're usually from up north and they come down here because of the weather or something like that, right? So find out where they're from, where their kids go to school, what they like to do for fun, where they've traveled. The thing about traveling is with people who they have never traveled, they always want to what? Travel. And people who have traveled love talking about what? Traveling. So
get that hot button. Find that hot button and see what really likes them, what they really like talking about. Quick tip during the demo to getting more recs. Write this down. The more I talk about referrals, the more I get. The more I talk about referrals, the more I get. In my demo, I'm always talking about DSA, right? Direct Selling Association, which I usually say this like Miss Jones. This means I can't start like knocking on doors and showing Cutco. It'd be very awkward to show strangers with like a bag of knives, right? Just knocking on their door. So I work off mostly referrals, and I'm going to show you how I do that, and we're going to talk about that a little later on. So I would get this down in your notes. I'm gonna say it again, but this is what I say. I'm like, Miss Jones, do you know what like the hardest part of my job is? Keeping my schedule full. Because everyone is so busy, I like to have full days. I'd rather have a full day of demos, Miss Jones, than like sitting down on the couch watching TV. The hardest part, Miss Jones, is not selling Cutco. It's really just keeping my schedule full. So before you start that, right, you want to thank the customer like authentically. So it's like, Miss Jones, thank you so much for sitting down with me. I know there's a lot of stuff that you could be doing right now, but thank you for sitting down and taking the time out. I'm like, I promise I'll be like better than your favorite TV chef. All right, so you get a little chocolate after that. So right off the bat, this is the two things I'll go. I'm like, Miss Jones, I'm in a contest right now, and there's two contests I'm in with the company. One is based on sales, and the other is my automatic sponsorship. That has nothing to do with selling, but this has everything to do with recommendations, and my goal is to average 15 recommendations on every single appointment. The great thing is, Ms. Jones, they don't even have to book with me. This just lets me know that my manager, to my manager, that I'm doing a good job. So right off the bat, I'm plugging that right off the bat. That they know it's not going to be like a weird thing at the end. It's like, hey, I'm asking for recommendations. Like, you know, I'm going to be asking. So let's go ahead and get that ready. So of course, your rec binder is living proof of like how you're good with recommendations. So make sure that you have a proper setup of your binder, making sure you have like the 20s, the 10s in there, right? Anything lower, take that out. So confident, body language, right? Positive expectancy, this is key. Of course, having your rec approach memorized, that's huge. But having it properly and reviewing the approach right away. You want to do word for word. You want to have this verbatim. There's certain things that can eliminate you getting recommendations, and you don't want to change it up. So with this, I know some of you are like really creative, right? You still want to have this memorized. I know some of you are really creative, but you don't like mess up the Pledge of Allegiance or like the national anthem, right? You don't create that up. So stick to it because that's the way it was written, and that's the way it works. That's why we do it. Same thing, you want to have that same mindset when it comes down to recommendations. Now, it can't be close to what this has to be right on. Getting more recommendations, here's the thing. If I taught you something that almost every single time you asked it, you got more recommendations on every single time you did it, you just asked confidently, would you want to know that tip?
Yes.
Wait, tell me more, Brendan. Let me hear it. Ask again.
Tell me more, Brendan.
No, that was it. Ask again. Write that down.
Oh.
Ask again. So they're going to get to 10 pretty easily. But sometimes you're going to have to help customers, thought jogs, stuff like that. And that's why I have the thought jogs in your handout. You'll see that. We'll get to that later. But ask again. First is you always want to thank them for how many they gave you. So it's like, hey, thank you so much, Miss Jones. You have no idea how much this helps me out. Usually, it's very common for people to get to 4, 5, 6 before they pull out address book, neighborhood directory, church directory. Miss Jones, you're 5 away from the sponsorship. You're so close. Who do you know that works and eats? Anybody notice my nonverbals there? What did I just do? Head nod, smile, and what? Hand it back. If you do not pass it back, do you think she'll take it? No. All right, so confidence, like, hey, usually get 4 or 5, 6 before they pull out an address book, neighborhood directory. You're so close to the sponsorship, so you're 5 away. Anybody that works and eats. More likely than not, what's the risk versus reward here? Risk is what? They say no. All right, you already have the 4 or 5, 6 recommendations. Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. How's me out of time? What's the reward there? To get more recommendations. See, I did this with one of my customers. Her name is Frankie Olivia, and her family is responsible for like a third of like cigars being imported into America. So I knew I really wanted her recommendations. So with that being said, she gave me 10, and I knew that I was like, she knows way more people than this. So I was like, Miss Jones, if you can give me any more, I'm gonna give you a steak knife. Okay? I knew that if like even if it was like one more person, it's gonna be worth that steak knife. She wrote down 15 recommendations. Out of those 15, I've seen 6 so far. Out of those 6, I've sold a signature, 2 Siggy upgrades, a set of cookware, and a miscellaneous like $1,000 order. Just because I asked again and just bribed her with a steak knife. So don't be afraid to like hook your customers up because they're gonna hook you back up. Right? So of course, bribing them with like extra like vegetable peelers, whatever you have extra Cutco on hand. Make sure that if you do not have the extra Cutco on hand, that they buy something, because you can't hook them up with anything for free if they don't get anything. Make sense? Cool. Now, use logic on your demos. If you build really, really good rapport, you're not going to need to objection cycle them. So what I mean by this is like Miss Jones, she's going to say like, you know what, Brendan, I really don't know anybody. So this is usually what I'm like, Miss Jones, a nice lady like you don't know anybody? Yeah. What about little Johnny's football team? Right? What about the yacht club that you said you were a part of? Right? Miss Jones like, you know somebody. Like, go ahead and jot those down, right? So don't be afraid to give them thought joggers. If you're looking at your handout here, I'll put some thought joggers on here, some extra questions. Really, you can say anything with a smile on your face, but if you build the right rapport, you can really ask any of these questions. It's really simple. So I get to a point. Here's an extra tip when you're asked for recommendations. If they're having a hard time, always say, what helps a lot of people? Let me say that again. What helps a lot of people? That way you don't put direct pressure on them. When you say, what helps a lot of people, this deflects the pressure off the customer. What helps a lot of people, Ms. Jones, if you pull out a cell phone, address book, right? Neighborhood directory. I bet if you pull that out, Ms. Jones, you'll get the 10. So who do you know that's the best cook that you know, Ms. Jones? Who do you know that has a boat? Ms. Jones, who do you know that could buy the whole book if they wanted to? I always like asking them. Who do you know that could buy the whole book? Like, Ms. Jones, who do you know that's famous? I asked that one time. Almost got Kate Upton's number. He was like, I know Katie Upton. I was like, Katie Upton? He's like, yeah, Kate Upton. Like his wife taught her how to ride horses when she was little. And she was like, wife came in middle of she was like, no, you were not gonna give her Katie's number. I was like, Tom, come on. So who do you know that's famous, right? Ask those questions. Near my area, we have a neighborhood called Stone Lake Ranch. And every single, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this, but any house in there, it's minimum like $1.5 million. Anybody heard like the rapper Plies? Yeah, he has a house in there. So in there. So I'm always asking my appointments. I'm like, Miss Jones, all right, who do you know that lives in Stone Lake Ranch? Do I get a lot of people that know a lot of people in Stone Lake Ranch? Probably not. I don't. But I get to a point where I'm asking so many times where I get that one person. And then I did. I got into there, and there was 2 weeks straight where I didn't have a house that was lower than like $1.5 million. And once you get to like that area, it's so different when you can like just go in and like with mindset and be like, there's no way you can tell me you can't afford this. And there's like, we're gonna find something you like. Just go ahead. Like, what side do you want? So don't be afraid to ask for what you want. And of course, there's some extra thought joggers on there to help you out with it down. Also, guys and gals, you want to qualify. What I mean by qualify, right? Who's married? What area of town? Why you're not like driving an hour in between every single demo. I've done that in the push where I did not care about who I set up. I was just like, let's just go. I'm hitting these phones. And I set an appointment wherever they could set me in the schedule. And every single time when I did it like that, it was like an hour and a half. I had to make sure that I had to cut time for Miss Jones on her appointment to make sure I could get to the next one. And that's not good. So you want to make sure that you're planning out beforehand. Next thing is relationship. How they know them, it's easier. It's easier to set the demo with them. If they're a coworker, if you know they're a neighbor, a brother, a daughter, it's gonna be very awkward for, believe me, and I've done this before, to call and say, hey, I was over to see your friend Susie, and she's like, you mean my daughter Susie? Right? It's very awkward. And if you would have went on that appointment and done the right way with qualifying, you would have known that that was her daughter, right? And now she's like sketched out, and she's gonna be like, you know what? Let me call my daughter to see if you're actually over there. You know. And then you're either gonna get a call back or you're not. So with that, also saying who's home during the day, right? See if you have only. This is perfect for people. What's coming up? The push, because none of y'all have school, which means that you have a lot of openings during the day, right? So seeing who's home during the day, that's gonna be a big one for, especially with this push going up. And always, I always ask this, like, who, Ms. Jones, on this list, if you had my job, right, who would you see first? Right, who would you see first? And this is huge because now that she's telling me who the best people to see are. And it's going to get to a point where I'm in the stage of my career where I only call the people that she start out. I wouldn't want to waste my time with people that are not the best and that she recommended to. So it's going to get to a point where you do that only. So making sure that you have that pointed out, who you would see first, because you can see who you're going to set up first for the best people. And instead of seeing and waiting for those best people, now you can replicate those people and get 10 to 20 of their best friends. You know what I'm saying? Their family members. Here's a power move. On to effectively managing your recs. Now, regardless if you get 3, 5, 10, 20, 50 recommendations, when I'm done writing up the order and they're writing down the recommendations, and don't be afraid to ask this, to send out the text to the recommendations. It's on the handout. So I'm like, hey, Susie, you know what's going to help me out a ton? And it's going to help you out a ton too, is we're going to send this heads up text. Now, before that, you want to use logic. You want to explain why it's effective for them, because they want to know what's in it for them. They're not just going to do it. Just sometimes they'll do it just because they're nice and they want to help you, but sometimes they just want to know what's in it for them. Okay. So I usually say, it's like, hey, Susie, I'm on the texting game, so I usually have this already going, but I'll show you both ways. I'm like, hey, Susie, you got a text from Lauren saying that I was going to give you a call, right? And they're like, yeah. Wasn't it a lot more comfortable and easier knowing that I was already going to give you a call? And she's like, oh, yeah. I was like, yeah, Ms. Jones, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing for your recommendations. For the most part, if you do not have this already established and you're just like, hey, let me try out the texting game and let me start to do this now, which I don't know what you're thinking. But with this, I usually say, Ms. Jones, this is the most important part. I can call your friends and say I know you, but they don't know that I know you. And you wouldn't believe the difference this makes. It's going to increase my ability to book appointments by 70%. And that way you don't get 10 calls saying, like, who's Brandon? All right, so what works better for you, like text or email? Now, some people are going to be like, oh, can we do it later? And then that's what I usually come back with this. It's like, yeah, Ms. Jones, it's only going to take a few minutes. I'm going to be here anyways. I can do it for you if you like. I can do it for you if you like. So I'm always reaching for it. And usually 30 to 60, they just don't want to take the time to like actually text it. But guys, all of us, we know how to use an iPhone and a phone. If not on the Android, right? iPhone, right? But we can do that in like 2 minutes. Does that make sense? We can send out 10, 20 messages real quick and have that copy pasted. So it's not going to take too long. I'll repeat that again if you want to get that down. Ms. Jones, this is the most important part. I can call your friends, but they don't know that I know you. So you wouldn't believe the difference this makes. It's going to help me increase my ability to 70% of booking appointments. And that way you don't get 10 calls saying, like, who's Brandon? So what works better for you, email or text? So be likable, be relatable, be an expert, be trustworthy, have a track record of performance. Have them consider you a valuable resource, just not just a salesperson. So on the handout, we have the message here. Just for the sake of time, I'm not going to read it out. You guys can read. Of course, we have the text to send out to the customer. And of course, what you send to the customer when you're leaving the appointment. I usually, if I have a day full of appointments, I'm usually sending this out right before, like it starts to get late, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, stuff like that. I'm going to send out all the texts to the recommendations beforehand. That way, if I'm on a late appointment, I can give them a call in the morning the next day. I've already gotten the text message from the people back that are saying they want to do the appointment or who they want to talk to and when to call back and stuff like that. One of the last things is just objections. On the back of your handout, you can see the objections. Here's the biggest objections you're going to receive when asking for recommendations and how to easily handle these. You master objections and you're going to easily get 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 on every single presentation. It's going to come to a point where you're going to be begging Miss Jones and like, go ahead and give me an objection so I can handle this and like go to my next appointment so I can get my 10 to 20 right now. So number one is like, oh, I can only think of a few people, right? Y'all can read through that. I'll go ahead. Thank you so much, Miss Jones. This really helps me out. This is basically just like the other one I was reading earlier. Only get to 4, 5, 6 before they pull out a address book, neighborhood directory, their cell phone. You're 5 away from the sponsorship. Is there any way you can put 5 more and get to help me with that sponsorship? Anybody that works needs. All right, small head now. Also, here's a big one. When you're getting recommendations, has anybody ever gotten like 20, 30, 40 recommendations and then you look at the recommendations and she's only at like letter C or D? And you're like, cool, I can totally get a lot of recommendations from this lady, right? So you want to bribe her, right? This shows if you break my record, I got my record at 64. If you break this record, I'm going to go ahead and put you over your favorite piece of content today. Right, so here's some extra sheets. Go ahead and start filling this out. I don't even wait for an objection. Go ahead and start filling this out. I can see you only got to like C right here. If you beat my record at 64, Ms. Jones, I'm gonna hook you up with a free piece of cacao. So here's some extra sheets. All right, get started on that. Quick miscellaneous 7 tips for getting 10 to 20 appointments every single time. Number 1, connect with a purpose. Customers are always asking themselves, do I like this person? Can I trust them? It's not about what you say to the customer. It's about how you're making them feel. So it's much as like, how long have you been in this neighborhood, right? All the neighbors pretty cool, right? Do you have any weirdos in here? Right? Get them to laugh a little bit. You have any weirdos in the neighborhood? Right? Number 2, make it normal. Talk about their friend who referred them. Bring out your referral binder. They're gonna ask like, hey, how do you know Susie? It's like, yeah, Miss Jones, actually look at this. This is how I know Susie. She got recommended to Lauren, and I actually saw Lauren through Alex, and Alex knows my mom. Right? So now they're seeing the repetition. It's like, yeah, Miss Jones, you're gonna be on this list. So bring up the leads at the beginning of the appointment, not just at the end. Oh, here's a quick liner I love to use. Yeah, Miss Jones, I've seen quite a few of your friends. Don't be surprised if you see me at like the holiday parties like the barbecue is coming up. Money. I'm seeing quite a few of your friends. Don't be surprised if you see me around at the holiday parties or the barbecue. Number 3, ask confidently. Confidence reacts with confidence. Hesitation reacts with hesitation. If you don't think you're going to get any, are you going to get any?
No.
No. So nonverbals, voice inflection. All right, it's not about what you say, it's how you're saying it. Number 4, handling objections with empathy. Here's sympathy. Yeah, oh yeah, times are tough. It's tough to sell knives during an economy like this. And then you can be like, oh yeah, for sure, right? Empathy is like, yeah, Ms. Jones, I understand your concern. But yeah, our national report just last week, Ms. Jones, we sold about $2.2 million just for the holidays coming up. A lot of people want cocoa. So, number 5, qualify for qualify, right? So make sure you're qualifying those. Number 6, giving the heads up text. And number 7, I would just say is your biggest thing is mentality. I know some of you might be thinking like, oh, I already got the sale. I don't want to ask again. I could be coming off as pushy for recommendations when I just ask for the order. Here's the deal. You got to think about recommendations kind of like a tip. If you did a good presentation, when the server does a good job, they get a tip. You still pay for the meal, but they still get that extra 15, 20, 25% on how well they did. There's 2 main reasons why people buy Cutco. Number 1 is they like you, and number 2 is they like the product. Okay? So as long as you're cutting food, you're reading the manual, you're following, you're likable, you're asking questions, right? That's going to be handled. You're keeping that 80-20 rule, 80% about them, 20% about you when it comes down to building rapport. You need to expect this. The other thing is when it comes down to newer representatives, they don't follow their approach. So they get a couple in the beginning. And then their mentality when it comes down to asking again is that they're not going to get 10 every single time because they know they don't have it down. So in most cases, you really want to change that mindset. What's cool is even if people just move here, they're still going to be able to give you recommendations from where they live with a virtual appointment. So you need to take advantage of that. There's really, if you're like a hermit crab, and you don't know anybody, there's no phone, no internet, that's like literally the only place where a person would not know 10 to 20 people. Every single one of you have 10 to 20 people on your phone. Let's think about a person who is double your age, triple your age, and owns a home, right? Who is married. They know more than 10 to 20 people. So take advantage of that. Last thing I would say is if you want to be spectacular, if you want your people to be spectacular, it starts with you being spectacular. Thank you.
All right. Big takeaways. Sean.
Texting reps. Save me.
Speak louder. The force is not.
Texting recommendations that save me in a push.
Text recommendations also is more efficient. And people are more likely to do so. We're going to take a quick stand-up stretch. JP.
Just kind of on that same line, focusing on listening for them to text or we can send the text.
Yeah, people need incentive, don't they? Even customers for not just for buying. Great. Dalila.
The more I talk about it, the more I get.
It's funny when you're excited about selling, it's easy to ask for the order and ask for sales and offer, but we shy away from asking for the same things and closing the sale on recommendations. I agree.
Like Dalila was saying, the more you talk about it and the more you drop those like key phrases and words that gets them used to and comfortable with giving you recs, the more they're gonna feel comfortable giving it to you.
Yeah.
And you just have to like act like everyone else does it. So don't be weird about
Yeah,
it.
it's confidence. It's confidence. If you feel like it's awkward to ask, it will become awkward to ask. I think Brandon said that in his own way. Mila.
He had a lot of really power move phrases, but my favorite one was, do you know what the hardest part about my job is? And it was keeping
Yeah, what's he enrolling? Empathy. You know, the hardest part of my job is keeping my schedule booked. And I'd rather do appointments than sit on the couch, like most of my other college friends. I'm trying to be more productive for that scholarship. That's another part. Got it? Okay, let's do this. Do me a favor. 30 seconds. Put your stuff down. Stand up. Stand up. Shake it out. Shake it out. Shake it out.
Shake it out.
Ready? Inhale. Arms to the chest. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. All together. Inhale through the nose. Arms up to the chest. 1, 2, 3.
Careful for your neck.
Exhale. Inhale slow. Inhale, look up, nose to the ceiling. Exhale, real slow. Inhale. Hold it, hold it.
Your diaphragm is closed, Jeremy.
Exhale one more time. Hands on your hips.
I'm gonna pass out.
Lean to your right, which is my right, your left, your right, my right. What? All the way.
That's so dumb.
Lean back and grunt. Lean back. Shake it out. Ready? Roll your shoulders.
These seats
Freeze. Forward. Freeze. Ready? Opposites. Okay, ready? Get lower. Come on. Inhale. Exhale. Shake out your legs. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. You're going to inhale and hold it for 3 seconds. And then release hard through the mouth. 1, 2, 3. Hold it. 3, 2, 1. Okay, turn the person next to you. High five. Say, let's go. Have a seat. Everyone have a seat. Wait,
G.I. Joe, he's Cobra.
Just small.
He's Cobra from G.I. Joe.
Did you see mine?
That's
No.
there we go.
All right, grab a seat. This is awesome. When you get a chance to meet my mom, and she hasn't been to a year banquet in about 2 or 3 years, so she'll be coming back to Buffalo soon. My mom has had this dream forever, since I was young, and she used to ask me every year from just before high school all the way until I was about 27. Oh no, I'm sorry, 30. She would call, and I knew what she would say. Hey Jeff, I was watching TV. Or I'm sorry, Jeff, I was watching TV. I know what's coming. I know what's coming. I know what's coming. You should try for American Idol. Every year, from 16 to 30, for about 14, 15 consecutive years. You should be an American Idol. because she's biased. And at one point I said, "Mom, let's now they'll let 30-year-olds, old people like you do it too." 1 year when the age range went up. I said, "Mom, why are you so?" Because you're good. And eventually she said, "You know what? You're just meant to be in front of people." When I think of Rhiannon Smith, I think of the same thing. Rhiannon Smith is meant to be in front of people. Someone who is magnetic from the stage, like literal stages where she's competing in her pageants, whether she's on stage giving messages at conferences. I first met this young lady last year when I got a chance to combine divisions. And one of my vivid memories of first really getting to know Rhiannon, and my first impression was the kill meeting. And I was the lonely soul going to go work out early in the morning before the meeting. Except Rhiannon already beat me to the gym. And Rhiannon was doing God knows what and bending and doing all these God knows what stretches. And I thought to myself, that's gotta hurt. I remember calling my fiance Heidi. I said, "This Rhiannon girl, I don't know what she's doing, but she was crushing it, and she was working out twice a day because she had this extra intense workout for a pageant." I said, "This young lady is really regimented, focused, and on a mission," and she was. And here we are, $230,000 plus later in her branch in Tampa, and here she is, slated to run a district office here and start her district career right out of finishing her first several with the company. Rhiannon also, what I do know, is very, very, very skilled at the phone. I think this is one part I really, really think is so important between the phone and recommendations. It's really easy to BS your way through those two when you have good contacts. Because when you have good contacts, you don't worry about getting a lot of recs. Because you know the ones that you have are good and they can get you to your push goals. That runs out very quickly if you're not good with recommendations. And when you know a lot of people, it's easy to call and not do the approach. And, "Hi, Miss Rhee, yeah, did my mom, okay, yeah." And that's your phone approach for about 5 out of 10 of your calls. And you think you're getting good phone time, what you're really doing is hurting your habits. You're not starting your habits the right way. So Rhee's gonna give some thoughts on how to master the phone, get more production, and I'm also excited to bring her up with a lot of energies. And one thing I know about Rhee, she gets really excited when you clap with your feet. Rhiannon. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Rhee. 1, 2, 3. Rhee.
Thank you, Jack.
I know you.
It's my new curve.
That's right.
All right.
Okay, you're good.
Okay, so I appreciate you bringing me up that way, Jeff. I want to start off by sharing a story. A lot of you know that I'm going to be opening my district office this upcoming summer. And what a lot of you don't know is that I didn't know if I was going to be opening a district office this upcoming summer. I didn't know if I wanted to stay with Cutco. I didn't know if my time here was done. And I ended up, I had a few interviews with Keller Williams. The regional manager for South Florida, Keller Williams, had reached out to me. He was connected to our old division manager's wife, who I'm really close with. And she said, you know, a lot of great things. And he said, "Hey, I want you to come open an office for Keller Williams in Wesley Chapel." So I'd spent a lot of time with him, and I talked with him, and I was on the edge, and I was going back and forth with him and Jeff about which opportunity is the best for me. And when I was meeting with Mark, that was his first name, he told me a couple of things. We had talked a lot about what I had here at Cutco. And he said he was just blown away by the vacation opportunity that we have. And how many trips I've been able to take before I've turned 22, I'm 21 right now. I've won 6 trips, and 3 of them were all 3 of the winner push opportunities I've had the chance to go through. So he was blown away by how we have the opportunity to win trips for free out of the country 2 to 3 times a year as representatives and managers, and they don't have that opportunity at all, really, in Keller Williams. Okay? Then he was also blown away by my experience with the phone. And he told me, you know, if I could get these real estate agents to have half of the phone skills that you have at age 21, I can't imagine what we'd be doing in business. And that made me realize that I take a lot of what I've learned here for granted. And a lot of you probably do too. Okay, so no matter what stage you're at, no matter how many phone calls you've made, or you probably haven't made, because a lot of you think 300 to 400 calls is a lot. Right? To me, a lot of calls is like 1,200. Okay? 300 to 400 calls, that's how many a lot of people are going to make before the push even starts. Right? And those are going to be the people that aren't just aiming to hit the trip, they're aiming to hit it for free.
Right? Because there's people that are like, oh, I want to hit the trip. And there's people like, I'm going to hit it for free. And they're not going to say, hey, I hit Punta Cana, and say I hit it for free. Right? There's a difference. Okay, so I want you to jot down in your notes some high point moments from a really great phone jam that you had. What are some things that went into that phone jam that made it so great? How did you feel going into that phone jam? How did you feel during it? How did you feel after? What was your productivity like? How focused were you? Where were you when you were making those calls? What energy did you allow yourself to be surrounded by? What was it like after that great phone jam? What did you do to create that? What did you do to prepare for that? What results came from that phone jam? Alrighty, one of our lovely TLA candidates, Allison, she is going to come up here and she's going to help us see some of these high point moments from our great fun jam. So let's give her a big round of applause. All right, so who has some high point moments from fun jams, great fun jams that they want to share? Jeff.
Afterwards, I forgot all the bad calls.
What?
At the end of a great fun jam, I forgot about all the bad calls.
Forgot about the bad calls. Love it.
Memory of them, didn't relish it, I forgot even I had them.
Good. Forgot about bad calls. What else?
Laughed a lot during them.
Laughed a lot. I love that. I laugh a lot too when I fun jam. Love it.
Give you confidence.
Gave you confidence. Okay. How so?
I
Never feared calling people. How many of you had a phone jam where you went in, you're like, and by the end of it, you're like, I can talk to anyone right now. I'm so pumped up. Anybody have a phone jam like that? Yeah. What else?
Ignore the bad calls while you're
Okay. So you ignore the bad ones because you're in such a focused, great mood that nothing can stop you. Right? Great.
competition with the person too.
Competition. Love it. How many of you have had a phone jam buddy and because they were working hard, you worked harder and you booked more appointments and had the week you wanted or a better week because they were doing their job and helped you? Anybody have that before? Awesome. Eddie.
Just slashing off each number as I book one.
That is one that I connect with because for me, just that physical movement, right? And everybody being able to see that I crossed one off, right? I got another one. For me, right? That was really motivating. So I love that. Anything else? Who else has some high key point moments?
Culture.
Culture?
Office culture, so
Okay.
classy. Spartans.
Right? Y'all Spartans, right?
Yes.
Anybody else has some office culture for when someone books an appointment? Silver Cup, right? It's a big one for holding the bell. Ring the bell, right? Sometimes there's tickets, there's drawings. Good. What else?
It encourages others to fund it.
Right? You're leading through example. By you doing your job, you're helping the office get their goals hit. Anything else?
Just I've noticed when I have great jams, I'm high energy and smiling and having fun.
Great. Now, how many of you, I want you to think to a time where you didn't have a good phone jam. What do you think your body language was like? I want you guys to do it right now. If you had a bad phone jam, what was your body language like? Oh, you can all see and feel how the energy in this room just went down dramatically. Now, I want you to sit like you just booked 20 appointments and you're about to hit the freaking Punta Cana push. How would you be sitting?
I'm going to be sitting.
Right. He's about to hit the trip, right? Everybody knows that he's about to hit the trip because he's not sitting, right? How would you be feeling? How would you be acting if you just had a 20 appointment booked jam and you know in your mind there's no way you're not going to hit that trip because you put in the actions and you dedicated yourself and you weren't lazy over winter break, you weren't lazy before Christmas or after Christmas, you focused yourself and you put in the energy and you have the appointments ahead of you. We all know if you have the appointments ahead of you, you're going to sell. Okay? You guys have the customers. You guys have the manual. You all have sold. That's why you're here. So really, the biggest key to hitting this trip is making the decision now to put the effort in on the phones. Because if you don't make the calls, you're not going to get the sales. Or you can get all the PRs in the world, but you can only get 5K credit. So you have to make the calls to get their appointments booked. So I want you to jot this down in your notes, or I would encourage you to jot this down in your notes. Phones equal money. And that's not new. So we all know that. Phones equal money. Why do phones equal money? Yell it out. Why do phones equal money?
Demos.
Demos, right? Why do phones equal demos? You talk to your customers, right? You can't do demos if you don't talk to your customers. You got to start building that relationship early on, okay? If you don't set up the demos, you're not going to get the sales. If you don't get the sales, you're not going to have the money to get whatever you want. I want you to jot down in your notes something that you want. In the next month. It could be an experience. It could be an opportunity. It could be something materialistic. That's fine. What is something that you want? And I don't want you to write down the trip.
What?
Something besides the trip that you want in like the next month. I want you to print out a picture of that, and I want you to have it in front of you when you're phone jamming. Okay? That's a simplified vision board. That's going to keep you focused. And then another tip that I have, this is something that I've done every year. My desktop is a picture of wherever we're going, right? I Google Punta Cana. I find the one that I'm attracted to most, right? The picture that stands out to me the most. And I make that my desktop. And every time I get on my computer, because I do all the time, right, I see that. I'm constantly reminded of what I need to be focused on. Okay? So phones equal money. You need to view your phone like an ATM. If you view your phone like an ATM, it's not going to be as easy to dread making calls, right? Because everyone loves money. Right? It's easier to love money. So view your phone as an ATM, and every time you're dialing digits, you're adding money to your bank account. And then it's not hard. Then it's more like a game. Then it's something that you enjoy doing. Okay? So view your phone as an ATM. In your notes, I want you to jot down P, and then under that H, and then under that O, and then under that N, and then under that E. Okay, so we're spelling out phone. I'm going to tell you what phone stands for. P stands for personable. You have to have a personality on the phone. When you make that call, you have to be someone that they want to spend 45 minutes with after talking to you for 2. Okay? You have to be someone that they're not going to hang up on or say no to. If you call Miss Jones and you say, hey, is this Jill? Oh, hey, Jill, I was over to see your friend Susie the other day. She recommended me, or she recommended you to help me with my scholarship appointment. Okay. She's gonna be like, she didn't tell me about that. She might hang up. Okay. She might let you keep talking for a couple minutes, and you're like, well, right? Low energy, your head's hanging down, right? You're slouching in your seat. Hey, Mrs. Jones, right? Do you want to book an appointment with that person? No. I would never want to spend 45 minutes to an hour of my time with someone that sounds like it's going to be a waste of my time, right? You want to be the person that it is incredibly hard to say no to over the phone. Here's my point of view. I know that if I meet Mrs. Jones, she's going to love me, right? Everyone, I mean, I don't say this to sound cocky, but just about everybody loves me, right? And I know if I get in front of them, that they will too, right? I know that they're going to say something like, oh, I wish my son could date you, or oh, I wish we had a daughter like you, because it happens every single time, right? And I'm not saying that to be cocky, that's just what happens. So over the phone, I need them to be able to feel that, even though I'm not in front of them. So when I'm phone jamming, my body language and my facial expressions, my tonality reflect exactly how I would be in person with them. Fun, energetic, loving, someone they want to help, someone that they want to meet and have in their circle of influence. That's what you want to be like over the phone. And still be yourself, right? If you're not super high, bubbly, energetic, don't try to be something that you're not, but try to be someone that Ms. Jones wants to meet. And obviously, all of you, like, look around the room, you're someone that everyone wants to meet. So be confident on the phone and embody that, okay? Do any of you want me to go through my phone approach? I can do it if you want me to.
Yes.
Good time?
Seriously, be writing this stuff down, guys. This is really good.
All right, so yes, we're going right back to it. So ring, ring, ring. Hey, is this Miss Jones? Hey, Miss Jones, this is Rhiannon Smith. I'm a friend of Susie's. Did she tell you I was going to give you a call? Oh, no? Oh, okay, I know she's super busy working at the hospital with the family. I'm sure I just probably reached you before she did. The reason I was actually giving you a call is because I was over to see Susie the other day, and your name came up. And don't worry, she didn't say anything bad about you. She just told me that you were really nice and that you might be able to help me out with something that I'm working on for school. So I'm going to the University of South Florida, and this fall I've been working with this local company that's helping me get some scholarship credit for school. And the way I get credit, just like I did with Susie, is to swing by for a few minutes and just go over some of the stuff that the company has. And all it is, Ms. Jones, is a bunch of stuff for the kitchen, which I'm sure you already have a ton of, just like Susie did. But what's really cool is I get paid just to show it to you. So you won't even have to necessarily be interested. And as a matter of fact, Ms. Jones, Susie didn't even tell me how interested you would be, but that you were just really, really nice. And she said you didn't hate hardworking college students too much, and that you probably wouldn't mind letting me stop by for a few minutes to help me out for my scholarship. And I know it's the holiday season. I know you're probably super busy, but currently I'm in the biggest contest of the year, where I can literally pay for my entire spring semester of expenses if I hit my goal. Mrs. Jones, I only need to do 10 more appointments this weekend to stay on pace, and I only need to book 2 more out of those 10. And so it would mean a world to me if you could squeeze me in for a really quick appointment. I'm actually going to be in your area on Thursday and Friday. I just wanted to see if it'd be cool if I stopped by at 5, or would 7 be better for you? 7? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Ms. Jones. You don't know how much this helps me out. And Mrs. Jones, Susie didn't tell me exactly where you live, so can I get some really quick directions? All right, just to make sure I got it right, I'm reading them back to her. And do you have any pen and paper handy? I just want to give you some really quick information. All right, let me know when you're ready. All right, so my name is Rhiannon. I spell it out. My last name is Smith. Just go ahead and put a smiley face next to it with some short blonde hair. That way you know who to look for when I come to the door. All right, and I'll be stopping by on Thursday at 7. Perfect. And my confirmation number is 46 39 57 40. Awesome. That's just in case my manager calls. Just make sure you put that somewhere where you'll see it. Maybe sticking on your husband's forehead or something like that. And I'm so sorry to have you go through all that trouble, but the other day I went all the way out to Clearwater, and when I got there, the lady wasn't even there. And I know you wouldn't do that, Ms. Jones, because you sound way too nice, but I know that people are really busy. I just want to make it as easy as possible. So are you sure that time works 100% for you and your spouse? All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Jones. I'm going to try to be the highlight of your day, and you guys have a wonderful evening. Bye. So what are some takeaways from that?
You have a script.
I have a script, and I run it.
That you use.
Thank you, Jeff. You and your spouse. Why is it important that I ask you and your spouse?
So we can use the objection later.
Yeah, so that way they can't use the objection, husband objection later.
Your facial expressions, like you're always smiling all the time, that usually reflects on the phone, so they know that like they're gonna like you.
Love it. Right? Always smiling.
I think will be interesting, and I won't do this, but districts and Luke and the pilot with David, I would do this. I would have people come in and, okay, show me the front approach you're going to use. See how long it takes you to pull out something or make something up. Like, for me, if you were to ever ask me that question, I'd say, okay, well, it depends. So it's August, so here's my August back to school approach, and here's my all summer approach, and here's my Punta Cana holiday approach, and here's my post-Christmas approach. I had 5 or 6 approaches, depending on the time of the year. And the only difference in any of the approaches was 1 or 2 or 3 sentences. So it really was one approach, and then I could just change 1 or 2 or 3 sentences. Yet I know for a fact that some of you don't even have a set approach. Yet it's kind of like playing football and you don't have your playbook, but I have it memorized. No, you don't. You shouldn't have it memorized. That's why there's still a playbook. You go to the sidelines, they still have the playbook on the sideline. In fact, the playbook's on your freaking armband. All the plays if you're a quarterback. You should have it memorized, sure, but you should go look, okay, I know right away. And that's a big part. Some of you are too smooth and charming your way to appointments, and that's not sustainable. That's based on your network, and that's good for the warm market. Once you start getting out of that, you can't smooth your way to appointment. You have to know, and you have to have technique and skill. That's a big part. The biggest thing I see, she's just reading a script, and it's the same thing, but it's how she's reading the script.
Not only, like you said, it's how she's reading the script, it's so important to just talk slow, because if you're going to go fast, I mean, for me, I talk so fast, I skip words sometimes, like just when I'm speaking. So you just have to like make sure the customer understands what you're saying, and like you don't want them to be confused.
Yeah, well, real quick, I have to interrupt on this one. A couple of you, I didn't look in the room on purpose, I would be panicking. I heard someone say, it's an awesome phrase. I'm going to kill you. That's in the script. Oh, money. It's not money. It's the script. Everything she said is in the normal script and the firm up at the end. I like how you did this. What were you doing? I like how you added this. What do you do? That's what I'm out here on purpose. Okay, I take this part seriously. In fact, I would say I was, as the number 1 rep in the nation, I was pretty good at selling. I was really good at the phone. And part of it is being, those of you who've been a receptionist before, if you've been a receptionist, you stick to the script. And that's the confidence that you have. And one thing that can help all of you is figure out what your script is, get it approved by your manager before the next big one. That's the big one. So I'll stop. Sorry, Eddie.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, I mean, you're clear, slow, sounded super confident the entire time. Especially the firm up was huge. Like, especially for holidays, like you need to make sure if you're setting them, they're completed. Because no error.
Thank you. Anything else?
Something interesting that you said about like, football players and how they have a playbook and they constantly have it with them. When I was in college, I remember every day, like right before we even started the day off, right before the morning film, we would actually take a test and go over every single position and every single play and what we were supposed to do during that play, so we had it locked in our minds.
Great, thank you for sharing that. So on that note, there's a couple things I encourage you to do. I encourage all of you, no matter how much you've sold, to role play this in the mirror. To do your phone approach in the mirror. And see what your body language is like. See what your facial expressions are like. Or record yourself. Either way. And I would encourage you to tell your manager that you're doing that so they can hold you accountable. Okay? Because all of you need to see what you look like when you phone jam. It's going to be pretty eye-opening for a lot of you to see what your body language looks like, to see what your facial expressions are, or to even hear yourself. You don't even realize how miserable you sound sometimes until you hear yourself, okay? So listen to yourself, record yourself, watch yourself, and you're going to learn a lot from that. Another thing I would encourage you to do, read through the approach in its entirety before you start phone jamming every single time you phone jam. I've been here for 3.5 years. I'm almost at $400,000 in career sales, and I do that every single time I phone jam. I'm going to do it before I phone jam on Thursday, right? And Friday and Saturday and every single day the rest of the time myself, because it gets you in the right mentality. It gets you focused on what's in front of you. It makes you present and focused to talk to your customers. And it reminds you of what's important, okay? Or you can role play it with a partner, an accountability buddy that you have for the push. But make sure you read it or you practice it before you actually start making phone calls, okay? H stands for hone. We kind of just talked about that. Honing your skill. Jeff mentioned a lot of you don't even use the phone approach. Okay? Do you think the best in the business just kind of used their own phone approach and did their own thing until they got to $1 million in career sales? No. They followed the script because the script works. It's just like your training manual. It's written a certain way for a certain reason. Every single line has all its psychology behind it. So make sure that you're using it. Okay? Hone your skill. And you got to get it to the point where you know it flawlessly. Where you can get up in front of a group of 50 people and do your phone approach just like you would for Miss Jones flawlessly. But that takes practice. That doesn't come after 20 calls. Or, you know, I sold 20K for this summer and I haven't done anything in 4 months, but I know I'm going to have my skills still honed. You got to practice it. You got to put a little time and effort in, and that's going to make it a lot easier to make your phone calls. Okay? I've had a few people ask me in this prep, you know, how do you get around the Christmas objection or the New Year's objection? It's a mentality thing. Okay? If you hone your skill and you practice it and you know it to a T, use the mentality that everyone that answers the phone is going to book with you, because why would they not want to meet you? You don't have to worry about that as much. I literally don't have to worry about the Christmas objection because I never get it. I've gotten it once or twice. And then I use my objection sheet that you all got and I book them. Because I follow the approach, I believe in what I'm doing, they can feel that in my voice, and they want to meet me. Okay? It's that simple. You just got to keep it simple. Okay? N is for natural. N is for natural. Oh, I skipped O. O is for outstanding. Okay? O is for outstanding. Once you know your personality and you use it on the phone and you've honed your skill, that's when you become outstanding. Okay? That's when every single person wants to meet with you and phone time becomes easier. Right? You run a business. Your phone is now a business phone. You got to treat it like a business phone. You got to answer it like a business phone. You got to make all your calls like you're a business owner, because you are, even though you're a little younger. Okay? I had to do an interview 2 days ago with this guy who works at the Department of Justice and a guy that works at the Department of Defense, because one of my old reps wants to get into the FBI. And at the end of the interview, it was like a 45-minute phone interview. He asked me, he's like, by the way, how old are you? So I'm 21. And he was like, I could tell you sounded a little younger, but your phone skills are outstanding. I talk to a lot of people nationally on a daily basis, and your phone skills are outstanding. But that didn't come after 20 calls. That didn't come after, you know, not practicing my skills. That came after a lot of time and a lot of practice and a lot of focus with my phone approach. Okay? So N is for natural, right? Once you become outstanding, it becomes natural. Making calls is a part of you, right? It's doing the job. Doing it outstanding, not just doing it, right? And that's a natural part of you. E is for excitement and enthusiasm. When your manager says, hey, let's get on the phones, what's your first initial gut reaction? So if you just want, have fun hitting the trip. I'm just going to be honest, because it's going to be really hard to make 300 and 400 calls if you have that reaction, okay? But if you make that switch today to, yes, I get to make calls, I get to go make money now, I get to go start building relationships with my potential customers that are going to buy Cutco from me and help me get future jobs, right, or future opportunities to help me lead the best life possible. If you view your phone time like that, why would you not want to do it? Okay? yeah, it makes you go out of your comfort zone a little bit. But that's where growth happens, right? And we're all here because we want to grow. So you got to view the phone as something that you're excited and you're enthusiastic about. And it's fun to talk to customers, right? We talked about how when you had great phone jams, we were laughing a lot. We were confident. There was competition. There was a lot of energy. We were having fun. So you got to be enthusiastic about it when you go into it. And before, have that mentality before, and you're going to have more of these high-point great jams. Does that make sense? Okay. It's all up to you. It's all up to your mentality about the phones. And you all, no matter how many bad phone jams you've had or how many great phone jams you've had, you all have the ability to make that mental switch literally right now so that way you can be on the trip and you can be enjoying it with everybody else. Okay? A few tips that I have for you before I finish up. And some of these are for the push and some of these are just for general success. The first tip I have for you is to make 10 to 20 calls a day. 10 to 20 calls a day. Set aside 30 minutes if you're doing 10 calls, or an hour if you're making 20. You can do it in the morning, that's when I prefer, or do it in the evening, or maybe at lunchtime. Or maybe you do 10 in the morning and 10 in the evening. But here's the thing. If you made 10 calls every morning, imagine how less stressed you would feel at the big phone jams, going into it with 2, 3, 4, 5 appointments already ahead of you. Imagine the type of customers you're going to be hooking up with in the mornings. Right? Those are the people that I want to meet with. Those are the people going to work, making money, taking care of their family. Those are the people who are going to be using Cutco the most and buying the most. Right? So those are the people I want to talk to. So set aside time to make 10 to 20 calls every day. This is one of the best keys to becoming successful in business, by the way. This is proven. All of our top representatives, top CSPs, they do this. So don't you think it would make sense to do what the most successful people in our business are doing? And it's not even hard, right? It just takes a little bit of focus and a little bit of dedication. And then if you do it for 30 days, it feels weird when you don't do it. It starts to become a habit. It starts to become natural, right? And that's one of those important keys to the phone. Next is plan your times accordingly. You all got calendars. They all say when you need to be phone jamming, right? Prioritize your phone time during the phone jams. Prioritize your phone time, because if you don't, you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's making less money, to getting less opportunity, whether it's with experience or hitting the trip or whatever you want to gain long-term out of this. It's created through those short-term habits. Making sure you prioritize your phone time is going to help create that. Okay. A few other things as far as before you come in. Make sure that any distractions that you're prone to aren't there. I want you to jot down what are some of the excuses that you might have happen during this push to not make phone calls. What are some of the things that might happen? And literally just jot down as many as you can, even if they sound silly. Right? Like for me, I'm not productive when it's cold. I shiver, I want to get a blanket, I want to curl up, I don't want to do any work. Like my mind shuts down. It's a good thing I live in Florida, right? So what's my protocol for when that happens? I make sure I wear warm clothes if it's going to be cold in the office. I make sure that I'm in an area that isn't going to be cold, right? I make sure I'm prepared for that ahead of time, right? If you aren't very productive or friendly when you're hungry, what is the solution to making sure that that's not something you have to worry about when you're phone jamming? Eat ahead of time, bring food with you, but also don't eat food that's going to make you feel like crap, right? Bring food that's going to give you high energy and help keep you sustained throughout your phone jams, especially the all-day phone jams. Okay? What are some other, I just want like 2 or 3 other examples of things that might keep you from making phone calls. Other people, that's a great one. If you know, okay, I need everyone's attention, because I know we've all done this at some point. If you know there are people in your office that you're best friends with, that are really chatty, that might distract you, do 2 things. Don't sit next to them when you're phone jamming, and don't let them distract you. If they start to talk to you, hey, I'm on my money making vacation, I'll talk to you after the phone jam. right? And that's not rude. That's going to give them the slap in the face that they need to go make their own calls, but that's your time. So make sure that you protect it, right? It's okay to be selfish when you're making phone calls.
Do you have any avid gym goers here that go, and one of the things that I say Heidi more than me, don't enjoy when we go to the gym is when people want to talk. It's a social gym. And some of you are like, oh, I love talking to the gym. That's who we hate you. And so what we do is we set it up where, for example, Heidi has her headphones. I bought those big Bose ones so that you can't miss the fact that they're on. And even when that's not music, and they'll ask me a question, let's say he's talking to me. So that's one method. Number two, I don't go to where all the people are congregating. I try to find different equipment. It's the same exact thing. And what happens is if you're in that group of talkers and chatters, or one set and then 30 minutes, and then talk some more, and then another set and then another 30 minutes. Wow, I spent 2 hours today at the gym. It was tired. Right? You guys do the same thing with phone time. Some of you do it here at the meeting, right? There are pockets in this room of engaged the whole meeting and pockets of on your phone the whole meeting. And they're all sitting together. It's really interesting. So do the same thing. Protect your time, protect your gym time, protect your where in the gym you're at. Put your headphones on. Make sure you're not hangry when you come into the phone gym. Make sure you're in the right place. Make sure you're organized. Is anyone the type where if you don't have the shoes that you wanted to wear or the right equipment that you wanted to bring, you just have a bad mental workout because you weren't prepared? It's the same thing. Or if you go to school and you forgot that one part of your external hard drive or your one notebook that had that, you're kind of thrown off because you set yourself up for success. It's the same thing with phone time. Set yourself up for success and get out of distractions. Distract the distractions. Distract distractions. Jackson, you know what? After the phone, after. I gotta make my calls after.
Thank you, Jeff. Anything else? Anything else anybody want to add on to that? All right. So know yourself.
Throw Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook on the last page of your phone.
Actually, just
on the
delete
last
them.
page of your phone, so you gotta
I
screen
deleted them
when you
during-
that, throw the notifications
Listen,
off. Like
During phone jams, your priority is making money. Your priority is booking appointments, not getting notifications that are going to distract you. Delete it for a few hours and then re-download it.
I won't say who, just to make it with a goody goody, because I know you're not, but smart. The three of you I talked to, you're deleting all your apps for social media for 13 days. Just for 13 days. You're going on a money-making vacation. See, señor? Money-making vacation. Make a vacation.
Right? You can enjoy your social media after you book your appointments. They're going to help you on a trip and make a few grand after a couple weeks, right? You can do without your social media for a couple hours if it's going to save you the distraction. And then a last tip that I have for you, if you want a 10K push, always have 10 demos ahead of you at every point in the push. So if you do 5 appointments on Monday and you have 5 ahead of you, well you had to need 5 more. So throughout Monday, you need to make phone time in between each appointment to get 5 more booked. Right? If you want a 20K push, you need 20 appointments. Right? 15K push, 15 appointments, same kind of metric. Okay? So protect your phone time. Be aware of who you have in your circle of influence when you're making calls and during this push. And just be aware of how you want to start your 2018. Do you want to start it knowing that you've hit a trip? Do you want to start it knowing that you're going to be one of the top people in our, not just division, but our region? And really in the nation, because we are one of the top in the nation. Okay? Or do you want to start being the person that's looking at all the pictures because you didn't want to make the phone calls? Right? How are you all going to start creating your legacy and your reputation? It's up to you. I'll see you guys in Punta Cana.
Rhiannon, I wish you were more comfortable in front of people. I really do. Okay. What I'd like you to do is find the person next to you. Big 3 takeaways from that message and share for the next 30 to 60 seconds. And stand up when you do it. Ready? Nice and quiet. I'd like you to write down the following. I'd like you to write down the following in the notes that some of you aren't taking. Some of you, your thumbs must hurt from the amount of scrolling you're doing during her talk. I hope they recover your thumbs. I would love to say, hey, let me see your notes, but I don't do that. I just see it reflects later. Man, you guys get once a month to make an impression. I would like you to write down approach, and then grade yourself 1 to 10. 10 is I'm perfect. I have a set approach. I use it all the time. It's the one that I have. It's organized. It's neat. It's laminated. It doesn't have to be laminated, but you treat it like so. 1 to 10. Rate your approach, your phone approach itself. Not the objections, just the approach. Number 2, your objections. Some of you have great phone approaches. You stick to an approach. You have an organized approach. It's an accurate approach. You protect your approach, but you don't do the same for your objection sheet. 1 to 10. What's your grade for your objection sheet? One to 10, objection sheet. Firm up. What's that? Don't say that to me, please. For favor, don't say that to me. Firm up. Now, some of you, I think, does anyone have their firm up integrated into their phone approach? Like it's already one sheet? Okay, some do. I never did, but as long as you have it scripted. How about firm up? Mrs. Jones, I'm sorry for you to have to go through all that trouble. It's just that the other day I went all the way to Clearwater. Yeah, and it was in the middle of rush hour, and they went all the way, and the lady wasn't even there. And I know you would do that, but I just want to make it as easy as possible so people don't have to get into that situation. I really know people's busy schedules. I have it almost memorized, but I would still have the approach. And Francisco's not in his head. He's one of our best guys here. 4, setup. From my office, if you don't know this, get out. You can't even walk into the room without this, right? What can't you walk in without? Focus 5. What do we call focus 5, right? What's 1, 2, and some people have different orders. I'm not concerned with what's on the top or the bottom. I am concerned that you have these 5 things out. Okay? 1 should be your attack list. What's the second thing? Well, we just talked about it. Approach, objection, firm up. One more time. Someone said planner / schedule. In our office, not everyone does this, but you have the yellow sheet and the blue sheet. So it's already laid out. You don't have to look at your schedule. You just have to look at your Wednesday, Sunday tracker. It has the times that you're going to offer. I like that better because it means you've already gone through your whole schedule. You don't have to flip through, and all you do is crossing out numbers. What I mean by that, let's say it's a Wednesday phone jam. My tracker is Thursday, Friday. I should put it like this: Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's got lines like this, and it says 10, 12, 2, 4, 9, 11, 1, 3, and 9 p.m. That's all the times you're going to offer. So I don't need to look through a calendar. Mrs. Jones, can I see you at 4, or it's just there? Mrs. Jones, can I see you Thursday at 10, or I can do Friday at 9. Oh, neither one of those work? Okay, I can do morning. I can do 9 o'clock on Friday. Or I can also do noon on Thursday. Which one's better for you? Oh, cool. Noon on Thursday? Thank you. You don't have to think. There's no schedule. You do that ahead of time. That's the prep work. Okay? What's the last one here? That's schedule or sheet. That's setup. Next thing, organize. Organize, organization. Rank yourself 1 to 10. So it's approach, objection, firm up, the setup, like this, your organization of everything, and the last thing is call focus versus results focus. And I want you to write that whole thing out so you can see it. Call focus, meaning number of calls that you're just making versus focusing on number of appointments that you get. When Rhiannon says 1,200, that's probably the exact number I would say for me is a normal amount of big time calling. 400 calls, I can make that, gosh, I don't know. 3 to 4 phone jams if I really wanted to spread it out. So the call focus, a 10 out of 10 on that one would be someone who I know I can just call. I'm not distracted. No. Okay, really rude person. No. You have telemarketer mentality, which is one of the best mentalities to have. They deal with way more rejection because it's not necessarily a nice person like you, skilled person like you, presenting a great product like we do. A lot of times it's cold. In fact, my phone keeps blowing up. I don't know why, probably because it's health insurance enrollment, and I'm an independent contractor. So I'm getting calls from Idaho, Maryland, Ellicott City, Maryland, and this is some part in Florida that I've never even heard of. They have my number. Okay, so telemarketing, and they keep calling. They keep calling. Last one here. Last one here. Ready? Is no fear attitude. So, or you could another way if it rings better, is, not taking things personally. Some of you are so good at you know the analogy when you're driving the car and the bug hits the windshield. Some of you are like this. Oh, let me pull the car over. Oh my gosh, that bug! That bug! And you're so hung up on one call. You know what I do? I just gotta keep calling. It's one customer. How many of you remember the 5 first rude people that were rude to you on the phone, their name and when you called them? Exactly. And if you do, you're hung up. You're hung up. Okay? You got to get over it. Okay. Rank yourself 1 to 10 on all of them. Does anyone have any outliers that are outlierly low? Meaning everything's like an 8, 9, 10, or 6, 7, 8, and one's like a 2 or 3. Raise your hand. Circle those outliers, and that's what you work on between now and Wednesday. Does anyone think that all of them are too low? Yeah, so get on it. And that's okay. It's not okay on the 20th not to have an attack list. It's not okay by the 23rd to be still low on these scores. Every one of these, minus the last 2, have nothing to do with mentality. It's printing things out and getting organized. I want to thank Brandon and Ree again for the message. Give me one more round of applause. So I want to wrap up with some thoughts on rapport building. Okay. Some rapport building thoughts. And we'll actually do some role play with this. For the third of you that are actually technically sound, really good sellers, and I could ask Luke, who in our Inferno SC2 Alliance now is just a good seller? They're technically sound, they know how to do the presentation, it's textbook, and they get results from it. Giovanni, I agree. Giovanni's textbook. And I remember when Giovanni got up, one of the alliances, and I wasn't there. And I said, how's Giovanni? He's killing it. He goes, it's exactly what you taught him to do. And everyone's mind was blown. I was so pissed. Okay? Because everyone was, wow, Giovanni. And Giovanni's a great student. If that's you and you're that type of a rep, and some of you, if you're that person, you know you're that person. I'm going to challenge you to just take your results higher and keep it consistent for 13 days. That's my challenge to you. If you're the complete opposite, you're a hot mess. If you're the complete opposite and you know you've just got really good customers. If you're complete opposite and Karina or Orlando or Mike or Carlos or David Delgado or Andrew directly told you, hey, you really don't know how to sell. You got lucky because you have good customers or you come from a good background. Some of you we told you right to your face this semester. If this is you, my challenge to you for the push is to become a technically sound sales rep. Don't bank on your rapport. If you say, my strength is rapport, that's probably you. My strength is just connecting with the customer and just making like a friend. We're friends. That's you. I have a strong start. That's you. You're not technically sound. And that's how I used to be, by the way. That's why I know. That's why I can smell them a mile away. In fact, this is why I'm teaching you rapport building, right? Okay? If you're somewhere in between, that's why I wanted you to circle the outliers that are low and delve into that. Dive into that. Focus on that outlier or 2 or 3. If all of them are outliers, then you might have to revisit them. Big takeaways. Let's share. I know some of you shared with each other. Takeaways from Ree's message. A couple more. Yes, sir.
Brandon always does this example of this posture. How you sit, how you smile during the phone.
Yep.
It affects like how the phone call goes.
Body language.
I think it's pretty significant.
Voice inflection is directly related to your body language. People can hear and feel how you're speaking to them. What else, Sean? It is an ATM. Makes it fun. Hey, Rudy man say, that's not a job. It's a game. When Reese speaks, I just want to get on the phone because it's fun.
What you want to accomplish with the push, put it down. How you see it coming.
Yeah, some of you, it's the reward system. I didn't hear that one part. You said something about something on your desktop. What do you have?
Oh, the picture of something that you want, you have that in front of you so you can keep that focus on it.
Yeah, and you've been to enough conferences too where you know, I forgot who it was that loved Skittles. And every time they would hit blank amount of calls, not appointments, every time they made 20 calls, they would eat a Skittle. That's pretty cool. Or ice cream, vanilla ice cream. Once they had their 10 appointments booked, they based it on results. They could get vanilla ice cream. Makes sense to me. Other couple. Say.
Something that I like a lot that's not only the phone jam, but it also helps you like in life is getting in front of the mirror and just practicing your phone jam and your firm up and your approach, because it's the way how you express yourself towards not only on the phone but to other people when you're looking at them.
And to your point, Jose, I would do that with everything. When you guys are running training, I would do that with your training. When you're running an interview, gosh, if you've ever taped your interview before you've run 20, it's bad. I'll say that. If you've ever taped your interview, do it especially before you get to 20. That's the one where you want to always remember that one and go, ouch. Who's over 20 interviews? 15 to 20 plus. Okay, it's probably getting out of that funky zone, but below 15, tape it just for fun and memorabilia's sake. It's bad. It's really bad. I'll take one or two more over here, Sean. We'll go here and then Austin.
Figuring out what it is that distracts you or prevents you from doing your best, and then preparing so you're not distracted.
What's really interesting, and I'll say this, most of you know what it is or specifically who it is that distracts you. And yet you still sit next to him or her. Or you still partake in that. It's really interesting. So if you know who or what's going to distract you, get away from that, especially during the push. Push is also an example and a model and a display of self-control that I get to watch. I really want a branch. I'm really confident giving you a branch, I think, except if you can't sit away from the person that causes you to talk, or you can't undistract yourself from blank, whatever's preventing you, how am I going to feel confident in the company giving you $6,000 in startup, $2,500 in company startup, giving you a territory that's one of 30 in the whole division that we're deploying? It doesn't line up, right? And I think Andrew says this in his Metro Miami office all the time. How you do one thing is how you do everything. It's the same thing here. But Jeff, give me a chance to run a branch. How am I going to be confident if you've missed how many preps, bailed on this many calls, bailed on this many sales pushes? Doesn't add up. Your actions are speaking so loudly I can't hear what you're saying. You know that. Okay? Actions always speak louder than words. So with that being said, let's talk about rapport, shall we? Yes? Yeah. Okay. The rapport is defined as what? The technical definition of rapport is what? I don't know. I'm just asking. What is it? Connection. Okay.
Close or harmonious relationship in which people.
One more time, Mr. Google. Wikipedia.
A close or harmonious relationship in which the people or groups concerned understand each other's feelings or ideas and communicate well.
I like that. That sounds great. For our intents and purposes, rapport is the opening. For all intents and purposes, the rapport is the opening. When you're new, hardest part of the appointment is the rapport. Hardest part of the appointment is the rapport. And you guys remember, who's been to an SLDM of mine? Yeah, because we come across as the knife nerd or the kid that got suckered into selling knives. You fill in the blank. You guys know that? Who remembers feeling like that? Who remembers doing an appointment and you didn't see them and they didn't say it, but as you're reading, you saw the body language say to you without saying it, what the hell is this? Raise your hand if you had a customer. Say I. And it's embarrassing. And ready, you get through it, you still sell the homemaker signature. Why? Because you get through that funky part. But if you can take out that funk and start strong, you get more recs, you get more sales, and you get more confidence. One more time, you get more sales, recs, and you get more confidence. So you guys have seen this before. But I'm going to do a quick review. Who's never seen me do my opening? Except for the new guys. Obviously, the 3 new guys, right? Okay, so most people have from SLDM. This is a review, but it'd be really interesting to see how many of you don't do this. Even though I taught it. And when you met me on a Tuesday at the SLDM, and oh my gosh. You know, I think one of you asked, oh, what? Let's trade numbers. I'll give you my cell phone. Oh, I'm going to use this. And you still don't use it now. Okay? Mr. and Mrs. Jones, this is as you're chit-chatting. Those great questions that Brandon had. Miss Allison, how do you like the neighborhood? It looks like you have a lot of neighborhoods. You guys all cool. You have a neighborhood association. Oh, you know everyone. Cool. Mental check. Okay. What I do is I'll have something like this. This is a side tangent, but I think it's perfect. So, Miss Allison, you know everyone in the neighborhood? You guys have a big homeowners association or neighborhood association? Oh, so you know everyone. Okay, cool. I'm just writing down. The hardest part of my job is getting customers, so I'm just writing down who you might know. I write it down right in front of them. I don't. This is one of the hardest parts of my job is trying to get customers. I'm going to write down who you might know. What are they? No, stop. Like they don't stop you. Okay. Mrs. Jones. Oh, Susie she plays soccer. Oh, she's on a team. Oh, one of those club teams. Oh, do they have multiple age groups? Do they all know each other? Oh, those are a lot of moms. Okay, 1 second. And I just write it down in front of her. Ready? When you get to the recommendations, okay. Miss Allison, thank you so much. I really appreciate your help. And you know what? We can just start with these. Do not think for her. Okay? So just, oh, I can't think of anyone. Don't, before they even say, Mrs. Jones, you can just start with those. Just sit and just slide it. Got it? Is that a light bulb? Okay, good. Okay, good. I like Cutco appointments. Okay. So you're starting chit-chatting, you're building rapport. Okay, great, Miss Allison. Mr. and Mrs. Delgado, that's awesome. Well, look, let's go ahead and get started. And if you remember from the SLDM, I just open up. Mrs. Jones, okay, well, and I have everything organized, and I pop out as if, and the impression I want to give is that I'm starting immediately, and I'm getting right to business on purpose. So, Miss Allison, let's get started. I'm so sorry, actually. I opened the book to start, and I closed the book to start. Right? And who remembers why? What does the book represent? Business, selling. So when I open the book, it means business is on, selling. So I'll open up. Mr. and Mrs. Upton, let's go ahead and get started. I'm sorry. Before I get started, can I say thanks? So what I'm doing is I'm starting business, I'm turning business off, and in fact, I'm physically putting it to the side. Now you're just talking to me. Business is over here. So from a physical standpoint, from even this is all my thespians in the house here, right? All that. This is physically putting field of focus off, and now I'm field of focus. Business I'm going to sell you is over here. I'm so sorry that I opened up and tried to sell you. Let me put it over here for a hot second. I'll stop there. Raise your hand confidently, not just for sake of looking good. People that do that. Raise your hand if you do that. Okay? You're missing out if you don't. Mr. Jones, let's get started. Sorry. I didn't even say thank you. Can I say thank you, Mr. Upton, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Upton, Mr. Upton? Oh, I forgot, sorry. Mr. and Mrs. Upton, say thank you so much. I wanted to say thank you. And why do we go right there? Because appreciation puts people in the highest state. That's why we start all of our meetings with what you appreciate. Mrs. Jones, I just want to say thank you. Notice it says thank you. It doesn't tell you what for. This is where it's genuine. Miss Pilar, I wanted to say thank you. Because this morning I got up at 6 a.m., got to my office at 7:30 to make phone calls from 8 o'clock to 9:30. And out of 100 phone calls I've made since up until noon, you're the only person that said yes for yesterday and today. I've had a rough couple phone jams, so I just want to say thanks for saying yes. Two things I want to do there. I want to say thank you, but I also want her to know I'm having a hard time. And sister, help me out. Okay, don't say sister. Okay? Ms. Cardenas, thank you so much. I just want to say thanks because that sandwich, oh my gosh, I haven't eaten all day, so thank you. I want you to think, and you can make a note of what you're genuinely thankful for at that presentation. Because when you do that, it's sincere, and number two, it's relevant, versus a generic thank you for something that's scripted. If you're with me so far, give me a thumbs up. Give me your fourth finger if you're with me. If you're with me, give me your fourth finger. Got it? Okay, good. Ready? Mr. and Mrs. Jones, let's get started. So sorry. Thank you so much. I forgot to say thank you. I wanted to say thanks, Mr. and Mrs. Upton, for letting me come over today. I know you guys are about to go on vacation. If you're going, you said you're going to Spain, right? What part? Barcelona? Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And I know you're leaving tomorrow. Thank you so much for squeezing me in. I really appreciate it. Hold the book back. Okay. I'm going to show you a product today called Cutco. I'm going to show you a product today called Cutco. Have you ever heard of it? And just like I teach in SLDM, it's not their answer that's important. It's your response that's the most important. There's only going to be 3 answers they give you. A definite what? Yes or oh, I'm not sure. I think, they, it's the person in the loop there. Luke always says that. It's like, oh yeah, Cutco the knives, or no, Cutco no. See, this reaction of yours, whatever they say, yes, no, or I think so, it's not important. What's important is how you react, because it shows that you're not the college kid that's getting suckered to sell knives to their friends and family. Okay? We'll do a yes. Mr. and Mrs. Williams, thank you so much. I'm going to show you a product called Cutco today. It's the world's finest set of cutlery, stuff to stock your kitchen, gifts for the holidays. Have you ever heard of it before?
Yes, I have.
You have? Okay, so you know how awesome this stuff is. Oh, this stuff is awesome. I wouldn't put my name up behind this if it wasn't. And I teach that. I always say that. I wouldn't put my name behind this if I wasn't. And if you come from a more connected family, which I did, so you know how awesome it is. In fact, I wouldn't put my name behind this, especially my family's name behind this, if I didn't think this was a great product. It's the best. What if they go the opposite? Say no. Ms. Dacko, so have you heard of Cutco knives before?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you're in for a treat. This stuff's the best. In fact, I definitely wouldn't put my name behind this if it wasn't, but I can't wait to show you. So either way, it's showing enthusiasm for the product. So far, so good? Give me a thumbs up. Good. All right. And this is now where you start to keep it real with the customer. Now, Mrs. Shed, just so you know, I'm not a knife salesperson. I'm going to show you a lot of knives and sets and ways to stock your kitchen. I'm not a knife salesperson. You're addressing the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is, what the hell is this college kid doing in my house doing this for? I know how they got my number. I know who they know that I know. I know what they're selling, but what is this? That's what they're saying, especially when you're out of friends and family. What is this? Mr. Palacio, I want you to know I'm also not a knife salesperson. Okay. The reason I'm working with Cutco is, and then you go into your goals. Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, the reason I'm working with Cutco is, and this is where I don't have my book set up, but if you were brand new and none of you are thinking you're fast start, but this is where you've gone right into your fast start. And you go into all of your tangible contest goals, and the way I always do it, when you share your goals, I go from material to experience. I go from material goals all the way to experience. So I would not end with fast start prizes and trophies. I would start with competitions. I can win this. I can win a trip. And then I would end with what things go under experience. Resume, TLA, running A, branch, 5-star recruit, and I would ultimately end with why you're working. Like really why you're working. Yesterday's TLA session, that whole 20 minutes of the why you're doing Cutco. I would start with material. The trip, Punta Cana probably comes around here. Why? Because it's a mixture of achievement and experience to get you to TLA, which the last one should be med school, run a business, take over the family business, entrepreneur, ASIN. Okay? Yes, really. Got it? Okay. So I'll do the whole thing. So Mrs. Broseph, how have you been?
Great.
Everything's good. How's the family? Soccer season's over? Yes. And I heard, what, #1? Congratulations. Mr. Broseph must be so pumped. Good. And how's the neighborhood? So I'm building rapport, and then I'll do little things that Brandon was talking about in his rec talk, or that little tip I was giving you with Allison. So the soccer club has gotten bigger, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So those are a lot of moms you know now? Ah, cool. Oh, remember, the hardest part of my job is finding customers. I'll tell you about that. And I'm just writing down who you might know. Okay. You go build rapport, build rapport. Well, Ms. Broseph, can we get started? Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Before we even start, can I say thank you? I just wanted to say thank you because honestly, it's been really hard these last 2 weeks because I just got back from school and I've been working really hard, and all of my friends are not working. They're partying and having fun. And I committed to a money-making, experience-building vacation for the last 2 weeks. So all I've been doing is working. And every time someone says yes to an appointment, it just really helps me out. So I just want to say thanks. Thanks, Miss Mula. I'm going to show you a product today. You said Miss Nancy and Miss Josie, your neighbor, knows about Cutco. Yes. Have you heard of Cutco? No. Oh, man. Cutco is so awesome. In fact, I wouldn't put my name behind it. I wouldn't do this through college if I didn't think this was awesome. It's the best. It's cutlery. And ready if you've been here in the summer. You know, I'm going to show you how you can stock your entire kitchen or just a few sets just to get started, or even a few gifts. But this is the best. But I'm not a knife salesperson. Okay? I'm a pre-med major. In fact, I go to FIU. They just started their med school program, pre-med student program, about 5 to 7 years ago. and I'm in the pre-med program. I'm directly looking to get into med school. Ideally, I'm here in South Florida. My father is an obstetrician. My mother is an OBGYN, and I've grown up with them, you know, in the medical field. So that's what I'm aspiring to do. I want to run my own practice. And they have a program where I can run my own branch office, which is an entrepreneurial internship, so that I can learn business skills, because most doctors don't have business skills. And I want to be the doctor that has both, not only for my career, but so I can be better with my patients. So thank you so much. And do you mind if I share with you some of my other tangible goals? Yeah. So I have this contest for blank, build it up. I have this for blank, build it up. And the thing I'm really excited about, I have scholarship opportunities, build it up. And I end with resume, TLA, and why I'm doing Cutco ultimately. And really go off on that. Okay, Mrs. Jones? Okay, great. So let's go ahead and get started. And then you can do your normal beginning presentation. So I'll stop there. Light bulbs, there might be reminders for you. It might be, you know what, I wasn't listening the first time. That's okay too, for being honest. Light bulbs so far. First of all, give me a light bulb if you got some. All right, what are some light bulbs from this? Glossio.
Writing down people they might know.
The rec tip, okay.
Addressing the elephant in the room, saying you're not a nice salesperson.
I know. You could say your way too. You know, Mrs. Jones, I know you're wondering, what the heck is this young, handsome Filipino college student doing showing these knives? Yes, I am handsome. And yet, no, Zach.
Get them in a happy, appreciative state.
Yeah, appreciation is the highest state. If you're really paying attention to TLA, what's the lowest state? Say it, Eddie. Hopeless and helplessness, when you have no control. That's why I love Puerto Rico right now. Not helpless, in control. Can't control the hurricane, but can't control all the things you're talking about today, your meeting.
How you mentioned that you're not a nice salesperson, or no, it was when you talked about the product, that you wouldn't put your name behind it, you wouldn't do this through college if it wasn't the best. That was, I hadn't heard that.
Sometimes you have customers that say, do your parents know you're doing this? Raise your hand if you had that. Your folks know you're doing this? Okay. Other takeaways, feedback. Yes, sir.
Your body language the entire time. You're sitting down, even for open close, you open and close, and you put it to the side, and you had it there, and then you ask about Cutco, and then you put it away when you talk about not a nice salesperson.
Yeah, anytime I want to get the attention off of Cutco and selling, I put it to the side. In fact, even little things, this is really advanced, but when I'm talking recommendations, oh, wait, Mrs. Jones, you know, one of the hardest part of my jobs, is finding customers, so that's why I'm writing down people you might know. Okay. I mean, I'll go back and forth, back and forth. You want to go really advanced? Okay. Mrs. Jones, and I'm in the middle of the appointment. Ms. Dacko, can I say something? I think you really like this stuff. And okay, I can try and sell it to you for sure, but I think you really like this stuff, I can tell. And whatever hesitation you have, I think I can help you. Can I just say that? Okay, cool. Like I'll have selling pauses to be real with the customer. That's what I used to term it. Selling pauses to be real with the customer. Whether it's in the appointment, whether it's in the closing, whether it's in the junk knife page. Anytime you have a moment, you can do that. But in the beginning, this is where I do it really intentionally. Sometimes I don't ever have those moments in the middle of the appointment. I always make this moment where I put the book to the side. Other feedback, takeaways. Yes, sir.
It's super simple, but just going from material to experience.
Yeah, go from material to experience. You guys ready? If you start with why you're doing cut, and I actually did backwards by accident. We're talking about the why and the career and TLA and the experience and the person you're becoming. They always remember not the furthest, they remember the most recent. You'll end with the stuff. The stuff you want to win and gain and get. And that's kind of selfish sounding. And then if you think about your training manual, what's the first part of the presentation once the goals are done? What's after? Mrs. Jones, after you do all the goals, what's the first thing you do to go into the appointment? Mrs. Jones? But after all that, what's page 2? What's company? Mrs. Jones, let me tell you a little bit about the company. Goals and then company. Got it? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I want you to role play your opening. So you have your version of what I just did. Okay? I'm going to keep this up here. 2 of you, 2 of you, 2 of you, 2, 2, 2. And Palayo and Moises, 2 of you, 2 of you. You can go with Allison again, 2, 2. Maddie Turner with Sean, Zach and Amanda, 2 of you. I'll have you go with Grant, the 2 of you right here. You can go with Maggie, 2 of you. You can go with trio. Got it. I want each of you to go right here. 2 or 3 times. We're done. Oh, yeah, it's done. Yeah. Ready? Stand up when you do it. We're going to role play. 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Start your presentation.